blood, sweat, and tears. Blood, sweat, and tears. Blood, sweat, and tears. Blood, sweat, and tears. Fight for what we want. Doesn't matter the cost. Every day, put in work. Nothing comes overnight. Strength in numbers, start to lie. We don't gotta fear. Blood, sweat, and tears.
I feel it deep, flowing through my blood. Rising up to become someone, and taking it all on my own. What a sweet victory. And taking all of my control, awaken something deep in me.
Like flames, feel it burning inside. Take a hold of pursuit of the prize. I've been told, ain't no way to survive. Keeping all of this fire that's locked up inside. When this is the time, enter the ring. All those mental chemicals doing their thing. I got flashes of battles inside of my dreams. I was made for this moment. At least now it seems like it's time to come face to face with your fear. Been battling reasons for all of the years, and I learned how to fight them with style and grace no one's ever encountered. You say it's amazing, I'ma come out swinging when they open the gate. Go ahead, call passion, I'm calling it rage. I'm taking what's mine like I already own it. Watch but don't blink, going here to the moment.
The sky rain down. Here's to the madness that's all around. Go on, tell them who you are, you are, you are. Go on, tell them who you are, you are, you are, you are. Here's to the moment, the sky rain down. Here's to the madness that's all around. Go on, tell them who you are, you are, you are. Go on, tell them who you are, you are, you are, you are.
My name is honor, my name is king, my name is champion, my name is strength.
Tell them who you are.
My name is Pentakill, you think it's strange? My name keep ringing inside of your brain.
I hear it every night. Here's to the moment the sky rain down. Here's to the madness that's all around. So tell them who you are, you are, you are. Go and tell them who you are, you are, you are. Here's to the moment the sky rain down. Here's to the madness that's all around.
darkest nights, you've heard the crowd, felt the blinding light. You were standing there when your heart comes alive. It's a dream of a hat, and it never dies. Right here, right now, give it all, get it out. Never a surrender, I fight and never fail. I am a contender, a challenge I can feel. The smallest lies become the brightest enemies, relentlessly. And even if you fall, you gave it everything to be a king. The smallest lies become the brightest enemies, relentlessly. And even if you fall, you gave it everything to be a king. You carved your way with a sharp attack. You watched it all burn, and you never looked back. There will come a day when your fears will arise. You protect your crown, so it never dies. Never a surrender, I fight and never fail. I am a contender, a challenge I can feel. The smallest lies become the brightest enemies, relentlessly. And even if you fall, you gave it everything to be a king. On my way, on my way, find my way, find my way. On my way, on my way, dream my way, dream my way. Never a surrender, I fight and never fail. I'm a contender, and challenge I can feel. The smallest lies become the brightest enemies, relentlessly. And even if you fall, you gave it everything to be a king. The smallest lies become the brightest enemies, relentlessly. And even if you fall, you gave it everything to be a king.
Turn it back.
Gear out a weapon, getting ready, counting down. Pay attention to the challenge, tell me where you from. Gotta be tough, gotta be strong, gotta be savage like animal. Every time you tryna push me down.
Look at me, I'll
Put
be
the line
lying
down when I run around, and I make a sign, I will catch you. Watch out, it's better feel, got no mercy.
Look at me, I'll be rising.
Carry the season, you got a down, got a weapon. You never hesitate for another moment, but my bone is golden.
I'm invincible, just let him know. I can show you all the glory I own. Through the jungle, find a way to the palace. I'm waiting. Go, never mind, can we go? It ain't a river, tiny bed. Storm is coming, tired of your cold. It's my kingdom, fire going up.
We the kings, it's our honor showtime. Honor kings,
Guess we're gonna burn up.
honor kings.
On a killing spree, I told you all this. All my enemies, they go on silence. Wipe them out for only 6 seconds. We got honor.
You wanna get me juice, kind of the one who made the rules. You have night to choose, only one way, got night to lose.
I gotta
the kings. It's an honor showtime.
I said I'm born of this, I'm born this way, ayy. This is my chest and my bonus play. Can't be late, won't hesitate. What do you say? Race to find my face, scars to find my skin. I can't convince them, can't please them unless that I'm the one that you hate.
H to the E-R-O, doing it for real, locked on my goal. From the ashes, I roll the game. Flow with a rumble, make them crumble, make them run. Cause baby, it's go time. Knocking you down's how I rise. An inspiration, I know I'm the one who gon' fill them up, no lie, we gon' do it. Facing our fears, we don't think we just move it. No, we the best, and we don't gotta prove it. Somebody test me, I swear I'm gon' lose it. I got a sure fuse on this boom and illuminate. The truth within, another day, another win. You got the power to turn around. Inside a champion, to be found.
It's my war cry, oh, calling out for the game. There's no time to hide, oh, won't you yell out my name when I sing on top of our lungs, wherever lost. It's my ride or die, oh, won't you yell out my let us begin, crush the foe. Look at me now, ready to go. Power within, we're standing tall. Fight for your name, ready to give it all.
It's prom time, gather round for everyone to see. On my grind, in disguise we bring you to your knees. We kick it, smashing down the walls of enemies. Hit 'em with the boom, then we get 'em with the beat. Punch it with the power, then we serve 'em with defeat.
I ain't never missing a day, missing a night. I'm on my way, I'm holding my pride. Throw up the game, top of the show, we're not the same. Blaming the blame, same on the aim. When you reminisce on this battlefield, it's on my silhouette that you see.
We gon' do it, facing our fears, we don't think we just move it. No, we the best, and we don't gotta prove it. Somebody test me, I swear I'm gon' lose it. I got a sure fuse on this boom and illuminate. The truth within, another day, another win. You got the power to turn around. Inside a champion, to be found.
It's my time to fight, oh, calling out for the game. There's no time to hide, oh, won't you yell out my name when I sing on top of our lungs, wherever lost. It's my ride or die, oh, won't you yell out my let us begin, crush the foe. Look at me now, ready to go. Power within, we're standing tall. Fight for your name, ready to give it all. In this only ones in this only ones in this call out my name, cut through the sound of the rain. No matter how I feed the flame, you know I feel the darkness and the pain. All of the ways we tried to break free from the night. You know we made it out, we found the light. I fly so high, light up the skyline. Let's do it this time, like it's a whole new vibrant world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Now
I see that I got everything I need. It's alright, I'm on fire, I'm alive, 'cause now I fly so high, so high. Light up the skyline, let's do it this time, like it's a whole new colorful world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Never thought we'd get this far, burning like the stars. How we get this far, like we're the only ones in this world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Like we're the only ones in this world.
What's a life without its worth? Compromising with what hurts inside. When you let fear decide your fate, you don't choose which path to take in life. In life, I'm finally letting go of everything that still holds me. I'm against all odds, but I won't give up, 'cause it's my time to shine. Standing in the spotlight, and no one let me down. Destiny is calling highlight. I'm not afraid to fight for everything I love. Victory's on my side. The more we lose, the more we gain. The more that nothing stays the same. In time, can love ever, can forget. What you see is what you get. Sometimes, gonna show the world tonight the light that shines inside us. We're against the odds, but we won't give up, 'cause it's our time to shine. Standing in the spotlight, can no one back us down. Destiny is calling highlight. We're not afraid to fight for everything we love. Victory's on our side. Takiki-takiki-takita. 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 Everything that still holds us. 'Cause it's our time to shine. Standing in the spotlight, can no one back us down. Destiny is calling highlight. We're not afraid.
Dongwon, won't you come out to greet an old friend? All this noise, how unruly. My, such a grand ceremony, and yet it's become such a mess.
Let me help you tidy things up.
It's almost time.
Hang in there! We'll protect everyone! Someone will come to help us! Who will come to help us? No. How interesting! Very interesting!
You. Why do you always cling on to him?
Austrian. It's been a long time.
Donghuang. Recently, a mysterious stranger has been seen about the Misty Marshes.
Oh, her. She's an old friend of mine. And she was once the seer, Austrian.
Austrian, the seer who once led the bird tribe to repel invaders and protect the Wonder. But didn't she fall in battle back then?
Yes, but it seems she's somehow returned from the dead, and she's given herself an interesting new name, Umbrosa. It's exciting, isn't it? Returning back from the dead. What will she bring to Misty Marshes? After all, her current self is completely different from before. The bird tribe girl I remember was pure and proud, forever bathed in light. But now, even from far away, I can sense the darkness and death clinging to her. Looking like this, it's no wonder no one recognizes her as the Austrian of old. Even the weapon she wields now is unlike those bird tribe past. Feather blades dyed in blood, sharp beyond measure.
It's said the bird tribe are born war dancers. In battle, they move with a dancer's grace and agility. But from her, what I feel is madness?
That's right. A reckless, all-consuming madness, unlike anything from her past. Since her rebirth, she seems to have awakened the power of the Undying. But who will face her in this final solitary dance?
Umbrosa, are you friend or foe?
We'll know soon enough. I'm sure it won't be long before we meet her.
So this is where you've been hiding? My old friend.
The cursed name, Kaiser.
We're no strangers to the fallout. It's what got us here. Ever changing, some chameleon. Blood, sweat, and tears. We'll never make it if we fall to everything that brings us down. With a comeback is now. Blood, sweat, and tears. Fight for what we want. Doesn't matter the cost. Every day, put in work. Blood, sweat, and tears. Nothing comes overnight. Strength in numbers start to lie. We don't bow to fear. Blood, sweat, and tears. Blood, sweat, and tears. Fight for what we want. Doesn't matter the cost. Every day, put in work. Nothing comes overnight. Strength in numbers start to lie. We don't bow to fear. Blood, sweat, and tears. Sweat and tears.
I feel it deep, flowing through my blood. Rising up,
to become someone. And taking it all on my own, what a sweet victory. And taking all of my control, awaken something deep in me.
Like flames, feel it burning inside. Take a hold of pursuit of the prize. I've been told ain't no way to survive, keeping all of this fire that's locked up inside. When this is the time, enter the ring. All those mental chemicals doing their thing. I got flashes of battles inside of my dreams. I was made for this moment. At least now it seems like it's time to come face to face with your fear. Been battling reasons for all of the years, and I learned how to fight them with style and grace no one's ever encountered. You say it's amazing, I'ma come out swinging when they open the gate. Go ahead, call passion, I'm calling it rage. I'm taking what's mine like I already own it. Watch but don't blink, going here to the moment.
The sky rain down. Here's to the madness that's all around. Go on, tell 'em who you are. Go on.
Will you live for real? Join the party.
Make the whole street a party and add disco balls. Real Me 15 series. Live real in every shot.
어떤 이들은 침묵 속을 걷고 또 다른 이들은 천둥을 뒤에 이끌며 걷는다.
Ma una volta entrati, conta solo una cosa.
Each splash writes a legend. Each step takes them higher. And only the worthy remain.
그리고 모든 시선이 한 곳으로 향할 때
Dove il cammino dell'onore conduce i valloranti alla vittoria.
Welcome. It is time. We are down to our final 4 here, and we're gonna have a brilliant day. It's your favorite kind of tofu, Kindofu, and with me today, it's once again Phil, Mr. Yumas. How are you doing today?
Doing great. We just had the New Kings League earlier, so I'm amped up for some more games here. We're at the penultimate part of the Major West League now, right? We're getting down to the wire. Last week, we saw that 3 teams gone ahead and went home. And then very quickly here in the next day or two here, we're going to have a victor be crowned.
Yes, and today we are all going to be playing best of 5s still, so it's going to be hopefully a exciting day because there's plenty of chances for a comeback. We can turn the whole script around if you want, but for now, our first series of the day should be Twisted Minds against a Level Max Club. What do you feel about that game?
So first, I gotta give a lot of props to Level Max Club, right? It's their first time here, and then they make it to the 3rd week of KMW here, right?
Yeah.
Not easy to do. Absolutely not easy to do. They upset a lot of people. This was a team that going into it was a very big underdog. You know, people projected them to be among the bottom of the rankings there, and they proved everyone wrong, beating out past veteran teams like Alo Gaming, like Boars Gaming here, right? And making it to currently the 4th place position, but they can go even higher.
Exactly, and this is what they're fighting for. The prize pool, 50,000 USD in total, with the champion taking the lion's share, 10,000 USD. Now, this is just step number 1 because the rest of the teams will also have their own placements. Minimally, they will go home with 6,000 USD. But being the champions and the 2nd place comes with their benefits as well. You will make it into KIC later this year.
Absolutely, and every match here is going to count even more because look at those jumps, right? From 4th place to 3rd place there, that's a 500 USD jump. You can make 500 USD in a pretty short amount of time here in just one match, right? And then from that jump from 3rd to 2nd here is 1,500 USD. So it is down to the wire here where every match, every game is going to matter. And speaking of games, here's a look at the bracket here. We're starting off first with the lower bracket where surprisingly, you know, kind of like how LM kind of overperformed people's expectations, it feels like Twisted Minds here maybe did not live up to their prior expectations a bit, right? As the former champions here starting off in the lower bracket.
But this is the exact scenario last season, right? Spring season, everyone was thinking, you know what, Twisted Minds not doing as well as they should have or could have. And right now, I think there might be a chance that we will get to see a brand new Twisted Minds. But then we want to see where does LM Club fit in this particular picture, right? Because Twisted Minds, definitely having been past champions of the spring season of KMW, I think there is a little bit of respect you have to pay to their name, after which we will take a look at the OG versus 9Z Globant, another exciting matchup.
Absolutely. So we were talking about Twisted Minds. They have that clutch factor, right? Last season there, they ended up starting in the same position as well, but ended up winning it all. So you could definitely never count them out. I think people just expect them to do a little bit better because they were the former champions, but they save all their cards to the end when it matters here in this final week where it is do or die. So now it's up to them to go ahead and show the world that as well.
True. And, you know, we had some discussions before this and, you know, yes, we don't particularly like each other per se. I mean, it's all banter, but on the east side as well, we're talking about the weaknesses of each team, right? So it feels like on the side of Twisted Minds, if you shut clean down, I think Twisted Minds will have a very difficult time. Now, on the side of LM Club, would you agree that if we shut down the jungler on the side of LM, Noor, I think then LM kind of struggles a bit?
I think LM, while their jungler, it definitely has a good amount of strength there. They're a bit more well-rounded, right? And another thing, you bring up a clean on the side of Twisted Minds. It feels like he was kind of holding back a bit, right? We saw some of his games. We said he was cooking, right? He was playing some you know, less than optimal stuff like the Yao top, and he played the Prince of Langling Clash as well too, right? So are we gonna see the same thing today here, or was that them kind of holding back in the earlier weeks to kind of save up for, you know, this final week here where it really matters and to flip the script on everyone? I'm not too sure.
Funny that you say that because I truly feel like TM has been hiding stuff, right? It's all the aces and the trump cards under their sleeves, and I think today will be the start of a very amazing performance by Twisted Minds. My question now is I want to find out what does LM have to offer, because like you said, this is their first season, and to rise all the way to the top of Group A when, you know, expectations were kind of borderline low at the start of the season for them, I think they might have some tricks up their sleeves as well.
Absolutely. They definitely have to have an X factor about them to make it all the way through, right? To make it into the third week here. Again, we mentioned how even former, KMW teams that were here before ended up struggling to get in here, but they actually make it up to here too. But yeah, it's very interesting that you mentioned that TM you think might have some tricks up their sleeve, because they're game 5, right? 2-2, game 5, Prince of Langling clash, okay? They're definitely hiding some stuff there for sure, unless they bust it back out today, which I'll be excited to see. That was a fun game right there.
Exactly. I mean, you don't show everyone your cards, right? That's the whole point of the competitive scene as well. Making sure that yes, number one, you have a deep hero pool, but at the same time, you don't want your opponents to know the true depth of your proficiency, and that's where you get to surprise them. And hopefully, at this point, I am hoping for the underdog story, right? LM first ever season, maybe they take a win off of Twisted Minds. But once again, you can't go wrong with Twisted Minds giving Clean a great game.
Absolutely. They were 4th place in the KWC here, right? So they're one of the top teams here, top contenders. I think no matter what goes on today, LM has far exceeded a lot of people and fans' expectations here. And as you mentioned, if they're able to take a game or two or even the series off TM, every single little checkpoint and milestone there is going to be a really, really big improvement for them for sure.
Okay, so we just received some very interesting news. I think the TM of old is back. So we have received news that 90 is back into the roster of Twisted Minds. Yes, right here, right now, we just got to know of it. So
I see it right now. I just saw it.
That is the card, right? Like, that's the hidden card under your sleeves, and I feel like TM is definitely coming in hot.
I was told, okay, that Knightley was retiring just earlier today in the New Kings League. Blam was telling me Knightley was retiring, and I'm like, I don't know, it's not easy for pros to retire. Watch TM, if they start struggling a bit, they're gonna give them a call back. Look what happened. We just got a message literally 1 minute ago. So it's definitely gonna be a shock to the players, because this is a shock to us too. Knightley is back on the roster here. I'm assuming he was a sub for the team, right? They had him on as a sub, and then they just gone ahead and swapped him on. And we were always saying TM, they look like they were struggling, right? Why? They're missing one of their goats, right? Knightley there, we saw last time, a big reason they won was off of some of the crazy plays he did there. 1v4 on Byron with a generational clip there, right? And that was a huge reason they gone ahead and turned it around against OG and won. So, whoa, that's gonna have to change my assessment a bit there, right? Like, that is a huge secret weapon that they just busted out.
So this Prince of Langling pick, is that coming out into the jungle position? Now that changes a lot of things up, right? So let's take a look at the leagues itself, and we'll take a look at the first team that is going to be playing today.
So you should never give up. You gotta fight for it. Whoa, let's go. I know you're running. I see the fire in your eyes. You gotta fight for it. Let's go. The battle's calling. You better give it all you got. You gotta fight for it. The time is right for you to raise a bar. Yeah. 'Cause you could be the greatest of them all. Yeah. Whoa, let's go. The battle's calling. You better give it all you got. You gotta fight for it.
Here we go. Here's a look at Twisted Minds' roster. Look at that. Knightley just snuck in there, It kind of looks like he's pasted in there, but that's because he came out of nowhere. He came in on the final stretch here. Knightley in the clash lane. Clean is back into the jungle here. Shanks on Marksman, ACC on Roam, and Hai Lang on the mid lane. So now I think we're only missing City Boy from the KWC roster now.
Yes, so the darkness before the dawn. This is the new edition, right? 90, or the original edition to the side of Twisted Minds. You can see he is looking very happy. And I think Twisted Minds, they're coming into this with a lot of confidence here.
Absolutely. Knightley is, he's ready. He's been watching the games, presumably, right? In the sidelines, waiting to be tagged in. They just tagged him in. He is fresh off of, not playing for a while, not fatigued at all, got all the studying and everything. So very excited for them to go ahead and face their opponents here, LM.
So you should never give up. You gotta fight for it. Whoa, let's go. I know you're running. I see the fire in your biggest of them all. Yeah, let's go. The battle's calling. You better give it all you got. You gotta fight for it.
Coming in from the United States, we're looking at the Limit Breakers themselves, Level Max Club, once again represented by Wu Qing in the Clash, Nor in the jungle, now in the mid, Legend in the farm lane, and Ash in the roam. Now, with the addition of the restoration of 90 into Twisted Minds, I feel like this is going to be a huge challenge for the side of Wu Qing. But this guy has been pretty fire so far. So will he be able to bring Level Max Club up to the standards of Twisted Minds?
Yep, this is North America's last hope here, right? We saw BTK go ahead and get knocked out last week, so they're bearing the torch here, the Limit Breakers. They're probably a little bit shocked, just like we are here with the sudden change here. They just messaged us 1 minute ago, so there might be a good chance they're not even aware of being swapped over there. We're not too sure. They're going ahead and prepping here, as you can see, getting some practice in, preparing for their match here, and then they really need to go ahead and take this down if they want a chance to advance up.
Okay, so you know what? Let's dive right into it, right? This first part definitely is the mental challenge first. So mental psyche is very important. This is where the coaches come in, and I feel like both coaches have done so well in the lead up to this particular side of the season itself. And we'll have Twisted Minds. They get the side selection. They go for counter pick, right? And now the coach's job. What would you draft as a starting draft against the likes of Twisted Minds? Do you go for early game centric draft, or do you try a late game kind of gameplay?
I'm always a big fan of getting wins off the board like as soon as possible, right? Some teams, they like to keep some gas in the tank for that game 4, game 5, right? I'm a very momentum driven player, and you know, if I had to go ahead and spearhead him in a way, I would say, hey, get your first and best draft out of the way first, right? Get that momentum in order here, and then maybe you can make miracles happen and then go ahead and collide with the likes of Twisted Minds and get these upsets going. But that's not going to really happen, I feel like, when you go in that extended long game. Usually a team like Twisted Minds here, the favorites, a little bit more experienced. They're going to have deeper hero pools and such. So I would attack this from the angle of trying to end the series as soon as possible.
True. So, I mean, we're looking at meta 0 picks, right? And you can't ban everything, so we'll see what does LM get to play around with. Now, the Liang has been taken out for the side of LM. Twisted Minds take away the RLE. This is going to open up a couple of doors. We have the potential Pay start into the game. We also have the Dharma. And there will be many options that LM can start off with. Oh, well, they actually take out a Fuzi instead, all right?
So it looks like Mai is a great contender here too, right? With the Liang being removed, Pei and Mai are going to be some solid options. They opt to potentially pick something like the Huan and have a little bit more of a flexible first pick here. She has a decent matchup against the Mai, so it's okay to kind of give that over to the enemies there. But that's not something you see traditionally being first picked too often.
Yeah, and right now, Twisted Minds, they're going for the catch potential, right? So teasing the Lung and the Dharma, not locked in directly just yet. But is this going to be a big problem? Because if we're looking at, you know, LM having an early game, there is the potential of the Pei and Byron. But against the lineup of Lung and Dharma, it's a pretty hard catch.
I would say they obviously have the scaling on their side with the Long and the Dharma. And going back to the Pei's game plan, right? You just want to win the game early. It would not, I don't think it would be too bad to go ahead and lock in the Pei Byron here. Just get your set pieces in order. You can potentially pick the Byron later on because the enemy has already picked their Clash lane, but you remove the Liang. It feels like a good game to go ahead and get, you know, the assassin / squishier picks out of the way. So you potentially won't have to remove the Liang in later games.
And now LM, they pick up the Guan Yu as well as the Agudo. This has been confirmed. And is it going to be strong enough against the likes of Twisted Minds? Twisted Minds, of course, opting to potentially save the jungle as a last pick, which I think is a fantastic idea because you get to surprise LM with that last pick.
Absolutely, they round out the composition with the Zhang Fei here. Looking at the first 3 here for both sides here, it looks like LM is going kind of contradictory to my plan, right? This draft, while it's pretty strong, it's not the tier 0 draft you're really thinking about, right? If you look at Twisted Minds draft, that draft is using a lot of powerful picks. It seems like LM has a pretty conservative game 1 draft here, kind of trying to feel out some of their opponents. They can definitely still get a win off on all these heroes. These are all very strong heroes, but they're not known as those, game-breaking top of the tier heroes that you really want to go ahead and snatch up here before the enemy gets their hands on it.
I think it's more of a higher risk, right? Definitely these heroes are not bad. I think whether they're considered tier 0 or meta 0 hero picks, I would like to contest that. But for now, LM, I think banning out the main counters against Noah on the Guru here. So taking away the Alarm, taking away the Hano, and Twisted Minds, they are gonna potentially pick up the Musashi, which, to be honest, is quite terrible to play against if you are Guan Yu or Yuhuan. In fact, even as an Agudo, right? Once you drop the ultimate, you're so vulnerable to that chase down by Musashi. So I feel like Clean is going to have a heck of a time against LM.
Absolutely. I think Musashi's been making a huge resurgence here, right? There was a time where he was super meta, then they nerfed him down, and then he was mainly like an Augurin counter pick for the longest time. But now we're starting to see teams go ahead and kind of blind pick him a little bit more here and just use them mainly as, a lock-on crowd control jungler here, and that's what he's great at. He's not necessarily there for exactly the anti-heal part of it, right? It's it's good against something like the Agudo and Yuan. They do have a bit of healing, but also he can, hunt down and lock down a mobile pick like that Guan Yu. So I think Musashi definitely been moving up ever since they slowly been giving it a tiny few bit of buffs every here and there.
Okay, I'm sighing because this really is this game is gonna go extremely one-sided, right? Whichever direction you want to go with, it will be one-sided because LM, they have the setup from afar, right? We have Legends arrows coming in, Burning Sun arrows. Once they land a stun, they should be able to land that freshly forged into couple blades by the side of Now in the mid. But for Twisted Minds, look at the synergy of this draft, man. Once the board is laid down, everybody caught inside, I guarantee you, is going to get a fist to the face.
Absolutely, yeah. They have a lot of team fighting potential on the side of Twisted Minds. Almost everyone there has ability to hit more than one character. Even the Musashi is known for having that lock-on single target ultimate. If everyone's trapped in the box, there's a good chance your duel to the left is going to knock up a few other people along the way too, right? So this is more the team fight composition on the side of Twisted versus more of a pick style composition for LM.
And tell me that TM don't look confident. They look confident, like this is 100% confidence coming into what may be one of the most stressful days ever.
Yeah, they are potentially going to get sent home here, right? So this match is going to decide which team is going to go home and guarantee that 4th place position here. I'd say it makes sense that they're so confident, right? They got their veteran Clash laner Nightly back, right? Clean is back onto his original position there, and their draft is impeccable as well. Amazing synergy, as well as using some, if not most, top tier heroes on their team.
Yeah, 90 Dharma. Oh, have you seen it? Goodness me. If you are new to 90s Dharma, right, take a look at him in KMW spring season. This guy was on fire as well. Now, his Dharma picks have been very scary, even in the most recent, international stage challenge of KWC. He was making waves. And this is a team that has great synergy playing together. The question now is, does Level Max Club have that same tenacity in them? I mean, it's a tough one to say, right? It's their first season ever, and you're going against one of the top 4 teams of KWC. So that's a huge mountain to climb.
As we mentioned, regardless of the outcome of this match here, they've already far exceeded a lot of people's expectations here, right? Mm-hmm. And I would say they should be very, very proud of their performance here. And we've been gassing up Twisted Minds here a lot, but Nightly, while he was a strong player, maybe since he has not been playing the last 2 weeks, he's a little cooled off a bit, right? We don't really know. True. He did sub in here for the ending here, but he's definitely not as warmed up as someone like Yicheng, which has been playing all 3 weeks.
That's true. So I want to see how does Uching, compare in the Clash name, because the two of them, their picks are going to be monumental. They will have a very strong influence on how the game is going to be run. But of course, with that being said, the true influence here is our official gaming phone, the Realme 15 Pro. Now, with the Realme 15 Pro, it is built for performance, made for gaming. Smooth, cool, and reliable, just the way that esports demands. If you're ready to level up, get yours now and feel the difference.
Absolutely, and that's going to be the phone that all the players are going to be playing on here too. They gave Knightley a call. They said, you get to play on a Realme 15. He's like, oh, really? And he immediately came back for week 3 for that right there. And on top of that, we also have a CD key for those of you guys at home here. Make sure to log in and claim that kid. Get yourself some Dragon Crystals. It is new. It's a new season now, right? There's new skins you can go ahead and unlock with those Dragon Crystals. So make sure to check that out.
Exactly. And you know what? The Mirage skins have been pretty fire so far, but we'll take a look at how Twisted Minds is doing, right? In the farm lane, they have managed to get the Firehawk at the bottom, also managed to clear their own waves, got the bottom camp as well. So everything going according to plan. Look, they're freezing the lane as well. So Legend is not having a good game.
Absolutely, Legend just being completely zoned from the wave here. They understand they have that 2v1. Legend is not allowed to walk up there. Shanks has the level advantage, and why he's going ahead and doing that is denying Legend the ability to last hit those minions, right? When you last hit the minions, you get extra gold. If you're around, you'll get some gold and XP, but depending on how far away they're able to push them back, they may be able to even deny that as well.
I think they're pretty successful, right? And right away, we get the first blood of Cam here. A very nice dive. And this is a very scary potential. Clean, I think, you know what? Has a lot of pent-up frustration having to not be in his natural role for the past few weeks here. And this is a strong start from the side of Twisted Minds.
Absolutely. Even though he wasn't playing Joan, he was practicing it a bit, right? So we might see some Yao and Prince of Lang Lang here later on in the series. But they've gone ahead and identified one of the weaknesses of Yuan, that pre-ultimate stage, right? Before level 4 Yuan, if you catch her out, she really doesn't have many tools to defend herself, right? Her skill 2 stuns people, but it's in such a wide range, you can't really get someone that's directly on top of you, off of you here. And that's exactly what Masashi's able to do here with that duel to death. Go ahead and get directly on top of Yuan and take her out there. She is gonna tick into her ultimate very soon here, so that's gonna be hard to achieve in the future, but they ended up, you know, capitalizing on that perfectly.
Well, they want to get the try here. The board is laid down. Uching is caught in the middle. Noah does have the backup. Then is a forward one. All of a sudden, 90 tries to escape, gets stunned up by the arrow as well. Everything going well for the side of LM, and they do respond. Twisted Minds have to be a little bit more careful.
Yeah, Knightley there, you know, flashing, dodging out some of the blades, didn't see the arrow coming, right? The second that across the map arrow hit, his fate was sealed there. He had 1 HP in front of the Yuan with a 2-3 second stun on him there, and he gets taken out. And that is why players love that Hou Yi pick. It is just able to go ahead and do so much around the map. Even though he's getting zoned, right? He's not getting as much farm there in the bot lane 1v1. He's able to pressure and help out the Clash lane.
Yeah, there's no way. 90 comes in, gets the kill onto the side of Uching, and Twisted Minds. I really like the response, but LM, they are putting that pedal to the metal. For now, it's 2-1. LM still trying to keep up for a little bit.
I think they're doing a great job of keeping up in gold here, right? Even though they're down 1 kill, that's basically all the gold there is just that 1 kill here. They're down 700 gold. They definitely stay in the game, especially with how much Legend has been getting zoned to. I like that he's able to pressure the map. They're just going to be looking to make plays around his arrow here and just try to mainly convert off sure things here, like that Hou Yi arrow.
Yeah, but right now, 4-minute mark, I don't think they can try to contest this as much as they like. Now it's going to try for that, you know, surprise steal. Arrow does not hit the mark, and look at that. Potential will not happen. Twisted Minds, they know this potential from the side of now too much. Garemo responsible for so many steals will not happen this time.
Absolutely, very clean smite there from Clean there, and it's important, you know, even in the early game, landing those blades does a sizable amount of damage. You got to really pay attention to your smite here. I would say smite is probably still advantaged in the secure there, but it's gonna get close, and then later on now is gonna actually have the advantage when it comes to securing these objectives if they do not zone them off like right there.
Yes, so Twisted Minds definitely have to keep this in mind. I think, yeah, there's no way you give a Garden mode open space, right? And this is where ACC is going to have a big impact, because he will be responsible. Every time he saves his ultimate, Twisted Minds always have a huge advantage of a turnaround in the fights.
Absolutely, and they do have 2 smites on top of Twisted Minds, right? We've seen in the past AC do a good job of getting some steals on. As you see a Burning Sun arrow fly through middle, no real connections here, and Ganemo does go down.
Yep, 90 going to get the first one for the team. Twisted Minds, they take 2 off of this side of LM. Legend maybe the 3rd one as well. Has to expend the flash. Does he survive? He will make it out for now. Shanks pressuring the back lines as well. They want to get a little bit more damage on the T2. In the meantime, 90, he stops the save attempt. LM have no answers at all.
It feels like Twisted Mind is starting to, you know, shift up gears here, right? They're going ahead and speeding up here, and it's going to be a little bit more difficult for LM to catch up. As we mentioned earlier, at the 2-3 minute mark, they were holding. They were down 1 kill, but now they're down 3, and more importantly, they're down a lot of farm. They're down 2,000 gold on top of that. Here we go. They go ahead and retreat back into the mid lane area. Twisted Mind's already taken a lot of stuff they needed from LM's jungle. Now they're going to go ahead and retreat and try to secure their own jungle here as their Azure Golems coming up. We see Burning Sun now come out. Barely missed the Yijing there. Almost got him. But I would say he was a little bit out of range to convert off it anyway, being safely under his tower.
I mean, they were hoping that now was in range, right? And for now, Twisted Minds, they're going to try and work on this T1 on the top, in the middle as well, not being able to secure the Azure Golem. So Clean does put some pressure. This is going to put a little bit more stress on the side of LM, right? And Noor, I think he has had a decent game so far, right? He did fall once, but still holding on, right? This 2,500 gold lead is actually not that big compared to what Twisted Minds were doing, but the stun does come in. If they can get a knockdown here, it will be great. Not gonna happen. So Twisted Minds, they're just playing the map because they know that they don't want to over-aggress.
Ilang not risking it, immediately burns the flashes. We see Unraveling Outburst comes out, does not quite connect, but it seems like LM's being ran over here though. Even though they're not really connecting too many abilities on the side of Twisted Minds there, they're just able to brute force and punch through the side of LM.
Alright, they get a secondary kill as well. They do get Highline in the mid, but with that, they managed to tie things up 2-2. But we talked about this. Getting kills is important, but you need to play the map as well. 90 puts a little bit of pressure in the meantime. While all of this chaos ensues, Clean is cleaning up the jungle, and they are looking for that come around, turn around as well. Clean comes in, gets the first one, a killing spree onto the lives of Ash as well, and they clean house. 4 members, in fact, that was a pseudo team wipe, a ace for the side of Twisted Minds.
Clean is just so ahead right now on the Masashi, up 2 levels on the Agudo. And Masashi is one of those picks that from ahead, they are so oppressive because they have enough base damage where they can just take you out, and it feels like you can't really respond to it, right? Masashi is those picks that if it's behind, it does no damage. If it's ahead, it has just enough damage to take you out before you can even do anything.
Exactly, and you know, the gap is starting to be a little bit disgusting for the side of Twisted Minds. Mostly because, look, Clean is at level 14. He is 3 levels ahead of Noor, but he's 4 levels ahead of everyone else. And that means insta-kills galore.
Absolutely here, and not just him, right? Knightley is ahead too. Well, interesting thing to know is that now is actually ahead of Hai Lang a bit here, because he's been giving away a lot of his farm to Clean to help propel him early game. So Ganamo seems to be the win condition for the side of LM here if they could, you know, get him in position to fire those blades and be the artillery.
Yeah, there's no way. They get a nice catch as well. 90 pushes them back. It's an unstoppable movement this time from 90 as well. They get down Noor. There's no more tanks. Uchin can try his best, but it's not going to be enough at the moment. 90 looking for the save as well. There is no answer from the side of LM as Twisted Minds just run around the map for free.
They just don't have that firepower yet, right? Geno actually landed a lot of abilities. And speaking of abilities here, Clean just comes out under the tower of LM and just takes out Legend. What could he do there? He was behind 2 towers, right? Immediately gets dueled to death. And that was a very short duel.
Yeah, that was the shortest duel ever. And with that, Clean manages to hit 15. And this is 15 that is too painful for the side of LM. We are only 9.5 minutes in, but the lead is a little bit scary. Once again, they get caught. LM slammed against the wall, and now it's out of the game. A crucial initiate coming in from the side of Twisted Minds. They don't even get the punish. And with that, the T1 in the mid is going to be secured as Twisted Minds make entry into the jungle, the heart of LM.
This is the beauty of having a utility mid laner like the Yijing, right? You don't require much resources. You can go ahead and give it all over to your jungler. And then in the mid to late game, you're still very useful. He's able to get that board down, right? He has anti-heal as his first item. He has so much utility as well, too. Whereas now he does have more farm and he has more gold, but he's not able to go ahead and apply that pressure and damage because, you know, his jungler is not quite as ahead, right? He doesn't have the people there in front of him to hold for him like Twisted Mind does.
Yes, and this is really exposing, that little gap in the draft of LM, right? And Twisted Minds now going for the double objectives. Uching catches eyes on this, but does he really want to contest? Because there are 3 different Twisted Mind members. They will not be able to do absolutely anything about it. And, LM wants to play from range, but there is no way Clean is going to allow that. He goes in 1v4, 1v5, in fact, with the chase down as well. The backup coming in from Twisted Minds. Can they get the kill? They will shut him down, but at the cost of Legend's life, so it's not a good trade. LM still losing across the map.
I'd say, big shutdown there. That's a lot of gold going away. That was Clean's first death potentially. So a lot of shutdown gold goes over to LM. We're seeing Twisted Minds kind of testing their luck here a little bit into the base of LM, kind of getting a feel of what they can do and what they can't. Clean definitely went a little bit too far there, but they were able to go ahead and capitalize. But while they were doing that, as you mentioned, they invested everyone, right? They invested 4 people and they still lost 1. So all while everyone's there chasing Clean, their jungle is getting ransacked by Twisted Minds here.
And that was the whole plan, right? So this is exactly what they're looking for. They get the snipe down, but it's them who get caught. LM, no response. 90 goes for the legendary plays on the side of Twisted Minds. And it's time to clean up. Legend, the last one left. And it's an ace for the side of Twisted Minds. The base is right open. P3s on the menu. And very soon, the Crystal will take a fall as well. Twisted Minds, what a start to game number 1.
Absolutely, very strong game one coming out from Twisted Minds. Again, as we mentioned, kind of a momentum shift, right, from the games we've seen earlier. The second they got their, serious roster here locked in, right, they are ready to play. Now they know today every game goes in and matters, and they cannot afford to go home, and they are playing.
They destroy the cameras as well. So at this point, Twisted Minds, what a game, right? Beautiful game of game number 1. This one really was just poking at the weaknesses of the draft on the side of LM. Was it a bad draft? No, it was not. But the win condition was very clear. They needed it set up from afar. And so Twisted Minds was like, no. We are going to close your game right from the start. We're going to get close. We're going to get personal. And this one really hurt.
Absolutely. I would say almost every aspect of the draft there was Twisted Minds' favorite, right? They have higher tier individual characters. They had better synergy across their heroes, I would say, than LM. And then when it came down to the in-game, they executed a little bit better as well, too. LM was able to kind of hold the very, very early game, this first 2-3 minute mark. They're able to keep up. But it shows that once Twisted Minds was able to get a little bit of a lead, they never gave it up. And Clean was just able to find all these angles where he got kills off and got himself super, super ahead.
Which is kind of scary because this is exactly what good teams do, right? So yes, there were a couple of moments where, on Clean, it kind of seemed weird why he was diving so hard. But to give his life, you then kind of notice that, because there is so much space.
Absolutely, yeah. To make all of the aggressive plays. Yeah, to make all those aggressive plays, you gotta actually go ahead and go for it, right? We were, talking about the one where he had the really short duel to the death under the tier 2 tower there. That only is able to happen if you actually attempt it. And if you attempt, a few flashy plays in a row, you're bound to get caught with your pants down one of those times, right? And that time he got caught there in the Crimson Golem side against all the members of LM. But it's not in vain, right? Because they had to expend so many resources to take him down, which opened up the map for his other teammates to go ahead and position, set up, push those waves here. And at that point, where you give the enemy a catch-22. You can take me down here, it's gonna cost you 4 people, but if you do, you lose XYZ on the other side of the map as well too.
It's just making good trades, right? And you can see the benefit of that. The leader of the pack here, Clean 5, 1, and 7, really hitting the 6 item marks way ahead of his counterparts on the side of Twisted Minds. But this also created so much space. Shanks was so close to the Siege Breaker. So even if they managed to drag the game a little bit more, I think Shanks would have come in and destroyed most of the lineup on the side of LM.
Absolutely, and look at Knightley here, right? Not his first day, but first time on this season of the KMW here. And look at that, 815 performance there. A relatively full damage on the Dharma here. Throughout most of the game, you see him going Axe Torment, Pure Sky, and the Frost Scar. And he was hitting some amazing truth mantras into the walls being set up by Highlang.
Yeah, I think this one was a true synergy play from the side of Twisted Minds. Now, this draft, is it any new to us? No, it's not. This is one of those scary synergies that you must not allow. But at the same time, this is what's so special, right? You can't ban everything. So Twisted Minds get the better share of the hero pool here.
Absolutely. And we were mentioning earlier, you know, they did expend a lot of powerful picks here on Twisted Minds, right? Almost every single character on their side is a top tier pick outside of maybe Masashi, but that's been a pretty good pick lately as well too, right? So they burnt a lot of picks here, and we are in the global pick ban format for this best of 5. So LM does not have to worry about Twisted Minds going ahead and using any of those strong picks anymore. And I'd say their game 1 draft was relatively conservative. They did expend some more flexible picks, but there's nothing, you know, really game changing that they lost here in game 1.
True. I mean, would you like this draft for, you know, the secondary game? For sure. But for now, we're going to talk about the MVP first. Nadi, what a way to be welcomed back into KMW, taking the first MVP of today. 8-1-5. Like you mentioned, this guy was on a tear with his truth mantras. The truth hurts sometimes, and this one definitely did to the side of LM.
Absolutely. Knightley came back, so y'all were struggling. All right. Yeah. He comes in here, immediately drops an MVP here. First game here. Amazing performance on the Dharma and being able to use that. It's interesting when the teams go ahead and pick the Yijing and the Dharma. They think it's really easy to actually go ahead and land a combo. And on paper, it makes sense, right? But the execution is another story. I've not seen another team execute the Yijing Dharma as well as what I just seen here coming out of Twisted Minds.
Yes, it comes down to, you know, a lot of value in the way that they place their skills, right? One ultimate from ACC actually helps to burn so many resources from the side of LM. And once you realize that, hey, I don't have flash, I don't have my ultimate, I don't have any skills left to save myself. And then 90 comes in, puts even more pressure. And like you said, the board coming in from the side of Highland has been phenomenal, right? Beautiful setup from the side of Twisted Minds. And it's all these little things that add up together, which makes Twisted Minds such a force to be reckoned with.
Absolutely. Highland, one of the best utility mage players I think I've ever seen, right? He has one of the best shoves, one of the best Yijings. These are his signature picks here, and you can see why. Look at the amount of pressure he's able to put out with among the lowest gold. He only had a few hundred more gold than ACC, the roamer there, but yet he's able to summon all these boards, apply all this pressure, do all this damage, apply anti-heal, and that's an art, right? Everyone can do a lot of damage and be very useful if you get funneled all the gold. But can you do it here when you're among, you know, the poorest on the team? There is not as easy.
Yeah, I mean, for someone that's poor, it's not that poor, right? A thrifty performance, but a well-done performance by the side of Highland.
And he's not poor because he cannot make money. It's because he chooses to give it over to his team, right? And that's what a team player is all about here. We got game 2 coming up, but not after this break. We're taking a little bit of a break here as 90 goes ahead and fixes his head. I think he hit the camera there, and we'll see you guys in a bit.
I feel it deep flowing through my blood. Rising up to become someone, and taking it all on my own. What a sweet victory. And taking all of my control, awaken something deep in me.
Like flames, feel it burning inside. Take a hold in pursuit of the prize. I've been told ain't no way to survive, keeping all of this fire that's locked up inside. When this is the time, enter the ring. All those mental chemicals doing their thing. I got flashes of battles inside of my dreams. I was made for this moment. At least now it seems like it's time to come face to face with your fear. Been battling reasons for all of the years, and I learned how to fight them with style and grace no one's ever encountered. You say it's amazing, I'ma come out swinging when they open the gate. Go ahead, call passion, I'm calling it rage. I'm taking what's mine like I already own it. Watch but don't blink, going here to the moment.
The sky rained down. Here's to the madness that's all around. Go on, tell them who you are, you are, you are. Go on, tell them who you are, you are, you are, you are. Here's to the moment. The sky rained down. Here's to the madness that's all around. Go on, tell them who you are, you are, you are. Go on, tell them who you are, you are, you are, you are.
My name is Honor, my name is King, my name is Champion, my name is Strength.
Tell them who you are.
My name is Pentakill, you think it's strange? My name keep ringing inside of your brain.
I hear it every night.
Welcome back. It is time to be at game number 2, and game number 1 was quite fast. Phil, what do you think is going to happen in game number 2?
Game number 2, what I want to happen here is LM go ahead and pick that tier 0 draft, right? Get that momentum back in your favor. It felt like game 1 was a bit of a feeler game to me from the side of LM. They were drafting to win, but they weren't, drafting like their back was against the wall yet, right? They didn't pick up a lot of their signature heroes that they could have potentially picked up here. We saw Mai was open for a sec for both sides, if I'm correct here. So Mai is likely to be able to come over here in game 2 if they do prioritize the picks exactly the same here in game 2. Twisted Minds getting their momentum, getting their bearings back here for sure here in this game 1. I think they've gotten used to losing for too long, right? So it's good that they're able to go ahead and draw first blood here in this match against LM.
I think it's important to be comfortable with losing, right? It's a part of competition. It's part of your life as well. And learning to lose is a great thing because it then exposes you to the mistakes or the gaps that you have to fill. And right now, it is going to be LM who once again want to go for the blue side. And this means they have a plan in mind. If you want to go for prior pick, there is a hero you're looking for.
Absolutely. Yeah, they have a game plan that they do not want to go ahead and get disrupted. It looks like last game, their draft and everything it told me, was screaming like, hey, I want the pay, I want the Mai, right? But I'm surprised they actually opt to not pick it. They pick up the Yuan instead there. Maybe potentially, they're worried that the Yuan would be a really good pick into their lineup if they do lock in something like the Mai and the pay here. But this game, that's going to be out of the question. So let's go ahead and see who they value in the first pick now.
This has to be a pay game, right? If you're on LM, like it's still open. At the same time, you've already expanded the picks like the Guan Yu, you've already expanded the picks like the Agudo. These are pretty important picks, to be honest. And even, let's say, the Gan and Mo, this one hurts quite a bit. I feel like, LM have invested a little bit too much in game number 1.
Yeah, they definitely lost some heroes here, but there's still a lot of heroes that they've played in the past that they've succeeded on here. They actually do not want the pay actually as they ban it out. So far, this is telling me it's potentially a Mai game. We have Yuan banned, we have pay banned here. If Mai comes up, it seems like the character they're gonna go ahead and lock in.
That's true. And the potential Long was also taken out by the side of Twisted Mind. So yes, there we go. We will see the Mai Shiranui as that prior pick for the side of LM. Is it going to make a big difference? Because Twisted Minds, they can also play that early game centric lineup and just straight up destroy LM as well.
Absolutely. Wow, the Mai is a solid pick here. I would say it's as solid as game 1, right? Because the Liang is still on the board here. When you go ahead and lock in that melee assassin mid, Twisted Minds can easily respond with the Princess Frost Liang and get an amazing 2-piece combo to go ahead and disrupt something like that Mai.
Well, you just made me hungry. A 2-piece combo will fit great now. And with that, Twisted Minds, they go for the D-Rens here. This is a tank pick, depending on how it's going to be played out. Twisted Minds, like you said, will consider the Liang being picked up here. The question is, will they commit? Because there's no way LM picks up a Princess Frost, right? I mean, you can play her in the roam, but is it ideal? I don't think so.
Absolutely. I think once again, Twisted Minds showing their, their experience in the draft, right? Able to kind of, identify if we're going ahead and giving the Mai, we're going to give ourselves a backup plan here in that Liang. And they immediately go ahead and lock that in. LM sniffing out that Twisted Minds maybe potentially want to go ahead and take the Ogren as they hovered it a bit there. And they're choosing to pick it up a bit earlier before Twisted Mind could go ahead and do that. Because if they do allow something like the Ogren to go do, Twisted Minds can easily go ahead and lock in Ogren, Princess Frost. And the Princess Frost Ogren Liang trio is so deadly there. They're able to give all the farm to the Ogren, which we've seen Hai Lang has been very good at funneling his jungler there, and then still be able to move around the map and be super useful with Liang.
Pretty concerned for the side of LM. Look, it's a great pick. In fact, I agree they should have picked up the Ogren because an Ogren on the side of Twisted Minds would be scarily tanky. And when you have a Liang combination available, even if it's just a solo Liang, he does true damage if he gets 2 shots within 1.5 seconds, which is very scary, right? So Twisted Minds, they're going to lock in the Agudo, a straight up counter against the Ogren, able to match the pacing as well as the movement. And we'll see, does the Princess Frost get banned out from the side of LM?
I would say it's one of the more solid bans here, right? They already picked their jungler, roam, and marksman. There's not much else to ban for unless you want to go ahead and try to ban out Nightly here. Princess Ross just seems too flexible and strong in this position here, and it gives Hylang the exact same game plan as game one. Go ahead and funnel up his jungler and just roam around the map applying utility. They're actually looking at things from the other angle, though. They're worried about Hylang going ahead and playing the more carry route here instead with something like the GNMO.
I think it makes sense, right? Because then you get to re-pressure the Organ pick from the start of LM. So smart choice to go for the GNMO ban. This leaves the Princess Frost as a potential opening, right? At the same time, there's also the Clash lane, which is a little bit dicey for the side of LM because they can go for the Byron, they can even go for the Charlotte to dive into the backlines, right? You have a very strong frontline tank in the form of Organ as well as the Zhang Fei for LM, but it looks like the consideration is let's not give Hylang the comfort pick here.
Absolutely. I would say Lady Jen is also a solid contender here. Kong Ming being hovered here for Side Twisted Mind. Now, that was not something I was thinking about. I was saying Lady Jen has a great matchup against the Ogren, Zhang Fei, and something like the Mai, all being melee, bruiserish characters. Is going to have to, you know, sit there and eat up their combo. But it looks like Hai Lang is thinking about something different here, potentially wanting to go something like the Kong Ming, or maybe that's actually for clean. We don't really know yet here as they're going ahead and thinking about it.
Yo, you're cooking, man. It is locked in. It should be in the mid, man. But here we go. LM, they pick up the Fuzi. Considering to pick up the Fuzi, I think it's a brilliant answer. And LM, they want to get the late game insurance. So if the Mai pick fails in the early part of the game, they're gonna be hoping to be able to fall back onto Legends Soyue. Now, is it going to be enough? Because you have one of the most mobile mages in the game in the form of the Kong Ming, and you also have the big burst potential of the Agudo and even the Liang. So, big concerns here. We'll see.
Yeah, LM going to go ahead and try to scale up for that late game here. The Futsu, the Shoyue, and then the Ogren, they have a lot of scaling on their side, but can they go ahead and survive, right? It is a Kong Ming mid. I forgot about Agudo being directly next to him there, so it is for sure a Kong Ming mid, Agudo jungle here. So now last person we're looking for here is going to be Nightly's pick, and he opts to go ahead and go to Charlotte to try and match the side lane pressure that Futsu can go ahead and provide.
This is really scary, right? So, okay, let's talk about this Clash lane, right? I think they'll be looking for a number of catchers. Now, Charlotte obviously going to be played by 90, right? And 90, his main goal is, I'm going to bypass your front lines. I'm going to bypass Ashe. I'm going to go straight for Legend and maybe even now. And that's going to be a huge turning point if Twisted Minds gets to play this card.
Absolutely. And then Futsu's game plan is going to be, okay, you go ahead and do that. I'm going to go attack this tier 2 tower here while you're going ahead and doing that here, and probably play the side lanes all throughout the match. If they are able to join the fight, not many people on the South Twisted Mind can survive being locked down by the Futsu ultimate here. So they almost always have to expend one person to kind of deal with something like that. They're not too tanky on their side. They have the Agudo there to try and go ahead and be a little bit of an anchor for the team. But compared to the side of LM, they are far tankier with the Ogren and the Zhang Fei.
I think, you know what, as the game goes later, obviously both teams will be looking for those openings, those gaps, right? And I feel like actually Uching is one of those gaps that LM have. Because if Uching takes a fall without making or taking another member on the side of Twisted Minds down with him, then LM straight up lose the fight.
Absolutely. I think it's going to all come down to when Twisted Mind does commit all those heroes to take him down. Are they able to respond on another side of the map and get something for it, right? Because we know Futsu in the late game, he's going to be able to 1v1 almost any character here. So they're not going to send someone against him 1v1. They're going to send 2, maybe even 3 people after him. But if LM is not able to use that time that, you know, Futsu can buy to, you know, get a tower and objective and such, that's going to be really rough for them there. And they're able to, you know, kind of lose their Clash lane for free potentially.
Which means in the early part of the game, you know what, Twisted Minds, definitely I think they will pay a little bit more attention towards the Clash lane, right? Do not allow that space sprite to go into the hands of Uching. At the same time, don't allow that teleportation portal to be maximized in terms of value for the side of LM. That is probably going to be Twisted Minds' game plan for now.
Absolutely. And for side LM, you know, try not to go ahead and lose that early game. The first 3 minutes of last game was great. They're able to go ahead and keep up in the farm. But we see Clean just walk in and just steal the Zergolem. No real intel on that as that gets taken away.
Yeah, 90 might give his life here. Did not commit the flash. Beautiful move. So really playing to the absolute limit. Buy some time. And this allows Wuxing from checking the buffs, which means LM now start once again with a deficit. You can tell that Noah doesn't know, but Shanks, he needs some help.
Oh, look at that, leaving that fire beak on 1 HP there. That, I know that hurt to go ahead and leave. They knew they had to leave there, but sometimes I'm like, oh, I just gotta die for it. I'm so committed at that point. But Legend is has more self-control than me there and opts to go ahead and back up. And this Shoyue here, this is not a pick we see too often, but this is one of the strongest late game marksmen. The marksman role is already strong late game, and then you have someone like Shoyue here, which gets more and more range as you go ahead and level up throughout the game. And late game, he's kind of going to be like a, you know, a Garo with a skill 1 on, tagging you from almost outside of your range or vision almost even.
Ooh, but that's the whole issue with this pick, right? Which is it's high risk, high reward, because the moment you get caught, you can be sure you'll be taken down. There is a lot of chase down available on the side of Twisted Minds, and I don't mean like actual dive here. Yes, you have 90, you have clean, but the scary potential actually is Highland, because he can commit to you without being physically there. Once he gets the winning strategy on you, that ultimate from the side of Highland, there's no escaping. It is locked on for sure.
Absolutely. So Legend's gonna have to go ahead and maneuver and make sure he does not go ahead and get comboed out by Highlang, and that's not easy, right? He has 2 dashes. He's able to really, you know, jump on top of you there and show you again, pretty high risk because it's so immobile when it's charging that skill 2, right? He stands still and is kind of like a bit of a sitting duck, and it needs to be protected. So we're gonna have to see how Ash goes in and protects Shoyue here as we get into the fights for this game.
Oh, there's no way they can't take this fight. Nice damage coming from side of Now, but it's not gonna be enough. First blood goes into the hands of Twisted Minds. There is a little bit of a response, but it's a roam for roam. And with all that has happened, Twisted Minds get the better of this exchange.
Absolutely. That was an amazing Ogren ultimate there. He barely survived being grabbed up by ACC. There's Liang there, right? And on 1 HP, he gets the Conductor of Souls down, lands on the 4 people, as you saw there, crucial crowd control, and heals almost all the way back up to full. And Twisted Minds was definitely not expecting something like that, so they had to overstay their welcome to go ahead and take him out there. And because of that, both roams go ahead and get traded.
But, you know, with that being said, ideally, with the draft that you have on the side of LM, you wanted Now to be able to snowball big, right? And he actually got a very nice knockout there, but unfortunately, not enough damage. This is where the Twisted Minds draft is looking pretty solid, because they have managed to shut down the growth and the snowball potential on the side of LM. That's what the draft is for on LM, right? You need Now as the Mind to be an absolute monster at this point of the game.
Absolutely. I'd say LM, they're not too far behind, right? They're down about 500 gold here. If they're able to maintain this gap and not let it extend, once they go ahead and scale up and get into the late game, it's going to be negligible here. But it all hinges down, as I mentioned, not letting that gap go ahead and spread here. And Twisted Mind, they're one of these teams that, if they have the lead, they're so tactical about it. They're so controlled, and they know how to not give it back up to the enemies.
Ooh, and you know what? I'm gonna put you in the perspective and the shoes of Wuxing here, who's being chased down, because right now it's the entirety of Twisted Minds against the likes of Wuxing, and with the winning strategy, they do get the kill, they get the trade. And for now, at the 4-minute mark, LM say it's fine, we'll give the T1, but we have to take a trade of some sort, and they secure that first 4-minute tyrant.
I'd say that was not a bad trade all around, right? They invested 3 on them, and that's what we were mentioning a little bit earlier. Once they do commit all these heroes to take down Yufutsu, what can you do with it? And LM did decently there. They traded their first Tyrant here. They steal a little bit of jungle here, potentially threaten this Azure Golem. Not the worst trade, but Twisted Minds is going to be kind of moving a little bit up here on the gold now, though, because they did get that kill. They're up about 1,000 gold here, and LM just needs to stop the bleeding and just kind of maintain right now. First 5 minutes, if they're only down 1,000 gold here coming up into the 10-minute mark, 15-minute mark, they should be fine.
Oh, nice positioning. They get the flash, but here comes the save as well on the backlines. Ash actually unable to do much because Noah and Now are going to be taken down. That's your main damage dealers. Legend does not have it in him right now to be able to turn the tides. And Twisted Minds win big. Hang on, what is he doing here? Wuxing in the middle of 3 will be taken down. And Legend left alone to his own devices. And LM suffer at the hands of Twisted Minds.
They're getting out-rotated so far, right? Right there, we saw a 4v3 in the mid lane there, right? While Futsu was busy pushing down that lane, they had the numbers advantage. They had Charlotte go ahead and hold the Shoyue, so they were down a marksman for that fight.
Yeah, nice stop. They actually get the return kill onto Now and Legend as well. And this is going to hurt Twisted Minds. They have the absolute advantage that there is very little damage. And with the suppression, a triple kill for the side of Clean as they look for more coming in. Ching does his best, but it's looking like the start of the end for the side of LM as Twisted Minds commit and lose nobody.
Look at the snowball effect here. They win one fight, immediately turn into a tower, immediately turn into another fight win. Twisted Mind is kind of ramping up, it feels like. This game looks even stronger than game 1.
I mean, it's a 6 times multiplier, right? We're talking about a 1,000 goal lead. It is now 6,000. In fact, yeah, 6,000 for the side of Twisted Minds. How do you make that kind of turn, man?
I'm looking at my watch here. I think it was like 92 seconds ago. I was saying they're only down 1,000 gold. And in that short span of time, they go ahead and turn it back here. 2 kills to 10 kills. It just shows you cannot let your guard down, right? Twisted Minds is always going to be there to go ahead and capitalize. And the second they see LM slipping up, they had a bit of a numbers disadvantage in the mid lane, immediately collapse upon it. And then on top of that, LM kind of playing a bit reactively, right? Trying to get the Futsu teleport in there to get a play done. Couldn't really quite do it, and then was just throwing good money at bad there, it felt like.
Yeah, they try everything onto 90. They get the kill, but at what cost here? Because it's looking like Ash is looking so low. In the meantime, Uching gonna take a fall. Twisted Minds. This is one win condition that they have completely removed from the side of LM. There is a minion wave as well. Looking for the opening with the first skill on the Liang as well. Looking for that turret damage is coming in hard and nice. Now let's get the knock up. They get the shutdown. There's a lot of gold going into the side of Noah, but he is alone. Gets a secondary kill in the form of Shanks, and somehow LM squeeze out a lifeline.
I think Twisted Minds, they're kind of over-aggressed there for that tower. They expected to take it down a little bit quicker than they really did. They had the Gudo, and they got a lot of tower damage down, dropping it to about 20% there. But LM was able to go ahead and capitalize on there. So far, looking at the 8-minute mark, they're definitely down a lot of gold. They're looking at the gold charts. Clean is on the top of the charts for sure. But I gotta say, we need this Futsu in the side lanes here. He's trying to play very reactively. He's trying to join these team fights and kind of save his team. That's not what Futsu's known for. That's not how you get the most out of him, right? He gets the most out of doing what he's doing now. Go ahead and side laning, pushing down the lanes, making someone respond to him instead of trying to respond to someone else.
I mean, that's a struggle, right? Because when you're behind on gold, the only way that you can kind of turn around the team fights is by a numbers advantage. But at the same time, yeah, we can't ignore what you just mentioned, which is they need the map control, they need the split push. So many things they need to do, and the chase down comes in. 90 calls for the aid of the team, and Twisted Minds respond. The save comes in from AC Ash as well with the Unbridled Outburst. But all this gives is more advantage to Twisted Minds. Maybe if the steal comes true, will not happen as the Tyrant goes into the hands of Twisted Minds. They go for the lockdown as well. 90 trying to push them in, and with that, Uching is caught in no man's land, and Twisted Minds oblige.
I saw a good amount of hesitation there when Charlotte jumped in here, Knightley on the Charlotte jumped in here. It felt like LM was not fully ready to commit on them. They could have easily dropped the ultimate on them there and tried to take potentially 5v1 and take them down immediately. But they opted to play for the disengage. They used all their abilities to go ahead and disengage. And since then, once they're out of juice, Wuqing gets caught out there. There's not anyone there to go ahead and save them.
Yeah, it's a difficult position to be in, right? Because the lead is still so monstrous from the side of Twisted Minds. Now, this T3 should be taken down with no defense coming from the side of LM. They can't afford to lose anyone else as well. And there's plenty of common spells for Twisted Minds to play around with. Ultimately going to be dropped down by the side of Clean. And for now, LM survive, but how long can they hold on? This 6,000 goal lead is definitely going to explode to even more heights on the side of Twisted Minds.
The base for LM looks like they've been losing for 15 minutes now. We're just up to the 10-minute mark now, actually. So once these objectives and enhanced objectives start coming up here for side Twisted Minds, they have the map control. They have the potential to take it down really quickly with something like the Agudo here. So it is only going to exacerbate LM's position here and force them to, have a little bit less. They're clearing out waves here, right? They have the high ground down, and now look at this. They're all stuck in their base, all 4 people on the side of LM here, while Twisted Minds get to easily roam throughout the map, take whatever they want, take the jungle, take the Tyrant, and extend their lead.
This is why teams take the Shadow Tyrant first, right? Because now you have extra fighting prowess. And, even if LM wants to make that Hail Mary play to go for that take on the Shadow Overlord, it's not going to work. They will lose the team fight. And bear in mind, this is a 7,000 gold lead now going into the hands of Twisted Minds. The T3 on the top looking non-existent. Ujing comes in, but it gets caught by the suppression as well. The backup not fast enough for the side of LM, and they lose 2 for their efforts. Twisted Minds, they get the freebie, they get the T3 on the top. And Twisted Minds looking for the second game that's gonna be, I mean, inevitable at this point.
Absolutely here. He was trying to look for a play there, right? And I respect that because that's the only way they're going to come back from this point. They're down so much gold, they can't do something traditional. They need to catch Twisted Minds off by surprise there, right? So we see Wei-Ching go ahead and flash ultimate down to Agudo, but there was just not enough power to go ahead and cut that down. Here's the final desperate attempt to go ahead and defend base, but it is not going to happen as Twisted Minds goes ahead and takes 2-0 lead against LM.
I mean, it was delaying the inevitable result here with the lead that they had. There was no doubt that Twisted Minds would close the second game out. And once again, yo, they have something against the cameraman. They keep knocking it down.
Someone tell Knightley where that camera is. He keeps bumping into it, all right? Because we're going to more breaks here coming up because of that. But that game 2 there just goes ahead and shows that once Twisted Minds get a little bit of that lead, right? Once it's not just 500, it goes to that 600, 1,000 mark. They're able to just go ahead and steamroll and run away from the game. We were mentioning how if they can just hold a 500 to 1,000, gold deficit, it's okay as it scales up, right? But they held on to that for like 14 seconds before Twisted Minds gone ahead and just turned that into 6,000 gold lead immediately.
Exactly, that's so scary, right? Like, you're feeling like you're so close, and suddenly it multiplies by 6 times. That is the scary potential of Twisted Minds, and that is something that they could not recover, right? End of the day, I think they needed a lot more time. Yes, they were hitting close to the level 15 mark. Legend was about, what, 4 levels away. But nonetheless, you need the gold along with the EXP. And that was never the case for the side of LM. So Twisted Minds, they knew exactly where the pain points were on the side of LM, made sure to make that pain stick, and also at the same time just disallow the growth, because like you mentioned before, there was no access into the jungle, there was no access into the buffs, there was no access into the neutral objectives as well. Nothing was available for the side of LM to mount their comeback.
Absolutely. And with the Futsu pick, one of the downsides of a split push pick, right, is when your team is behind, you don't really get the split push. You're always kind of forced to, play housekeeping, right? Teleport back and try and go ahead and play more reactively to help your team here. So the entire time, the Futsu pick never got a split push off. He never got a chance to 1v1 anyone on the side lanes here. He would have been better off with, a clash laner that's more for team fighting, because that's what he was forced to do the entire game, right? Twisted Minds ensured that they constantly applied pressure to the 4 of LM to the point where it felt like he had to come back for it. And when he came back, sometimes it was too little, too late. And it's just not the way you want to go ahead and be playing the Futsu there very reactively.
I mean, this is one of the benefits of the draft on the side of Twisted Minds, right? It's a very expensive but very rewarding draft, because now you still have access into the Mai, you still have access into the Princess Frost. There's a lot of potential coming in from the side of Twisted Minds. They have managed to save very disastrous picks for the side of Hailang. And I say disastrous because LM now, they are on the back foot. One more win secures Twisted Minds' journey into the the semi-finals here. So Twisted Minds, a very good job of shutting just the entirety of Level Max Club down.
Absolutely, they're staring down a potential 3-0 here. And one thing I was staring at throughout the game here is check out that Ogren build here for the side of LM. That's the first time I've seen Ogren opt to go to Succubus over the Eye of the Phoenix, right? Eye of the Phoenix is such a strong Ogren item, but this game in particular, he's opting to go ahead and go for Succubus, maybe identifying too much magic damage on side of Twisted Minds here on someone like the Liang, the Komeng. He's thinking like he's going to go down before he can even get any healing off. But that's an interesting adaptation there I thought I'd go ahead and point out.
Yeah, I like that, right? The idea of the Succubus Cloak obviously is to be able to have that 1,500 hit points worth of magic shield that definitely works wonders against the likes of Twisted Minds Hailang on that ultimate, right? But this is the issue. Look at the gold graph. You need the gold graph to be as neutral as possible for LM to be able to survive that, and that was never the case. From 1,000 to 6,000 to a final of close to 10,000 gold lead on the side of Twisted Minds, there was no way LM was going to come back, and this was one of the reasons why the MVP cleaned back in his natural position here. 10-1-7. The amount of God mobilizations, the throwing of her furball onto the side of LM. Clean was just tearing them apart this game. 29% of the team's hero damage dealt.
Absolutely. Clean was so ahead this game. If you looked at that graph, you're wondering why, Twisted Mind's graph kept going up, and then there was a steep downfall. That was when Clean actually ended up going down there in the base of LM, right? And he gave away all that shutdown gold. And that just goes to show how ahead he was. He was 10 and he was like 9-0, 10-0 there by the high ground of the side of LM, just applying so much pressure on the Gudo, playing the pick massively. And look at that here. Now is able to survive a lot of the suppressions, but not for long, right? He survives it, gets the Conductor of Souls down, and then immediately gets dispatched.
Here's where the major differences come in from the side of Twisted Minds, right? If you notice, a lot of the fights, Shanks was involved from the get-go, and a lot of the times, you kind of understand that, hey, maybe the farm laner should be farming, right? Because that's what Legend did. He was never a part of the fights. But even then, the win condition for Twisted Minds was, we will win the team fight, and then you have to stop farming on the side of Legend. There is no way. You have to respond.
Absolutely, yeah, and that's the benefit of something like the D-Renji. It is good out of the box, right? Doesn't matter how much farm it needs, that ultimate is always going to drop your resistances, and it's always going to go ahead and stun you. Whereas something like Legend, he takes some time, right? As mentioned, you need to put points in your ultimate, slowly get that range up, and become that late game menace. And when you're against something like the D-Renji, that's always just old reliable out of the box. You can always join team fights. You're always happy to have another person stunned up by D-Renji here. It's really hard to go ahead and put, you're up against so much pressure. Because Twisted Minds, they have the numbers advantage. They taking 4v3, 5v3 fights, right? While you both the Futsu and the Shoyue were on different sides. And on top of that, their picks are stronger in that time of game too. So it's a 4v3, 5v3, but it feels like their 4 and 5 are even stronger than your 3 individually as well.
Exactly. And with that being said, with time being a currency you can't buy, it is time for us to go for a break as LM tried to recover against the best side of Twisted Minds.
You've walked through the darkest nights. You've heard the crowd, felt the blinding light. You were standing there when your heart comes alive. It's a dream of a hat, and it never dies. Right here, right now, give it all, get it out. Never a surrender. I fight and never fail. I am a contender. A challenge I can feel. The smallest lies become the brightest enemies relentlessly. And even if you fall, you gave it everything to be a king. On my way, find my way, find my way. On my way, on my way. Dream my way, dream my way. Never a surrender. I fight and never fail. I'm a contender. And challenge I can feel. The smallest lies become the brightest enemies relentlessly. And even if you fall, you gave it everything
Welcome back. It is time for the potential final match of this series. Here we are at series point. Twisted Minds. What a way to show up, and what a way to welcome their Clash laner back, because it is winning styles for the side of Twisted Minds.
Absolutely. And if you're an LM fan right now, I don't even know what to say. It's looking rough, right? LM, they're trying different strategies both games here, but they are against a insurmountable opponent in Twisted Minds here, right? They're able to just go ahead and pick these beautiful compositions that perfectly synergize together while using some of the strongest picks as well. This is going to be potentially their last hurrah. So me and Kim were talking about during the break here, they need to go ahead and bust out all the stops here. No more holding back. Get those comfort picks down, right? Get some of these, maybe these more higher variance picks down. Something like the Jing, the Pei, where you can kind of, you know, do some stuff early game and kind of churn the game in your favor very heavily and snowball. Because if you pick, you know, a battle of attrition composition like they had there with the Ogren and the Shoyue playing for late game against a superior opponent, they're almost never going to let you get there.
There's no more Liang. Come on, man. LM. Bust out the Jing, take the Luna, something of value, go for the Assassins, something that Noah likes to play, right? And in the Clash lane, you have already expended the Fuji, you have expended the Guan Yu on the side of level max. I don't know, give the Baiqi a try. I mean, that was a huge pick, right? Obviously, we're kind of throwing heroes out here, and that is the safety for us because we're not the actual coaches. But the amount of stress that LM have now is unimaginable at this point.
LM's probably thinking we just did two completely different compositions and neither of them showed any signs of working here, right? If anything, it looks like Twisted Minds is kind of ramping up in that second game and won it a little bit more handedly. They need to go ahead and, as you mentioned, get something to go ahead and thwart that momentum there. Maybe go ahead and draft a composition so strong early game that it forces Twisted Minds to kind of play on the back foot, right? And not let them go ahead and get that momentum. Whereas they're kind of doing the opposite so far. You know, they're drafting compositions that throws the ball in Twisted Minds' court and go like, hey, you need to go ahead and end the game here quick or we're going to outscale you. And they are able to end the game quick.
Exactly, and this is a scary potential. Let me fill you in on why it's so scary, because there is a potential that Twisted Minds, they even give up the early pick now. Right? They give the early pick to LM, they pick the 50-50 to channel, and they just destroy you, and then LM have no more options here. The big picks have been expended down. So what does LM have in mind here? They try to pick off the Guan Yu, so there is a potential of a Princess Frost Liang combination available, maybe?
Absolutely, yeah. I'll definitely start to draft, you know, these really streamlined game plans like that, right? I always talk about the Liang Princess Frost because it always works. That combo is so reliable. It doesn't matter how good the player you're playing against is or how strong they are. You lock them down with the Liang and put a Princess Frost on top of it. They are going to go down. These are strategies that are tried and true and evergreen. And as we're mentioning, against a superior opponent, you're going to need strategies like that.
Exactly. You know, the easiest analogy I have is we'll let you eat with forks and spoons. And at this point, I'll give you a fork, but we're going to be drinking soup.
It looks like Twisted Minds, they're not going to go ahead and give away that Arlie and 50-50. And honestly, I would say, why would they, right? What they've been doing is so far has been working. They've been banning the Arlie long out every single game here. And it seems like Twisted Mind cannot find an answer to it so far. So it looks like they're potentially taking a bit of a note here from Coach Kin here and going for that strategy, because the Princess Frost first pick here is very telegraphed, I would say.
I mean, just look at the bans, right? They're taking away the people that, number one, can catch out the members of the Princess Frost and Liang combination. They're also taking out the secondary tank that's available in HOK, which is the Lian Po, because Twisted Minds have already expanded the Zhang Fei. Now, what this means is there is a high potential for LM to explore that jungle, assassin jungle pick. And look, Lady Sun, great burst, but then doesn't a Jing look fantastic here?
Yeah, they're definitely playing up.
Oh, there we go.
There it is. All right. They immediately lock in the Jing and Liang. I think they have the stream on potentially here. Can they listen to our comms a bit here? But they go ahead and lock in those 3 picks here. That's exactly what we were talking about for their side. They have amazing catch potential from both the Liang and the Jing. And the good thing about Princess Frost, why they always like pairing up the Princess Frost with the Liang and a carry jungler is Princess Frost kind of like kind of like Yi Jing, one of those mid laners that doesn't really need gold. And a jungler like Jing that needs a lot of gold loves partnering up with a low resource mid laner like that.
Okay, and here we go, Twisted Minds. They oblige. They say, you want to play early game? Sure. You want to play the level 4 timer? We can play that too. And this is where it's going to get a little bit scary because
yeah, because the Mai goes ahead and gets locked in here by side of Twisted Minds. And the Mai pick, while it is a strong pick, it's been picked so late because the side of LM has already, you know, kind of countered the Mai, right? They have the Liang, they have the Princess Frost to go ahead and shut it down and give it kind of a tough time here. But Highland can definitely still do wonders on that pick. And he doesn't play it too often, but when he does, he has a lot of success on it.
I mean, ACC is a secondary save for this, right? You have the Mournful Temple, the second skill coming in from the side of Yihuan. That's going to be absolutely destroying the Liang catch. And I mean, sure, if we're talking about sacrifice on the side of Twisted Minds, you can kind of sacrifice one person on the side of Twisted Minds. But look, they have multi-burst potential. There's the Mai Shiranui, there's the Lady Sun. You can only pick one out of the 2 unless somehow you get the magical frigid prison of your life on the side of Now, which is not going to happen, I feel.
And that feels like what LM goes ahead and needs here if they want to go ahead and get a game in the series. Twisted Mind opting to remove the Dharma and the Sunset. They're noticing that LM already has a lot of pick potential, right? And they don't want to give them any more in that Dharma and Sunset. It looks like, wait, is this a nightly Liu Bang here to kind of play around that Lady Sun or Mai?
Yes. So it's definitely just to be able to counter whoever gets caught off by the Liang ultimate or the Jing ultimate as well, right? So Mirror Domain, as well as the suppression coming in from the power of word control. This is looking a little bit scary because Twisted Minds, because of the wealth and the depth of their hero pool, they have all the potential answers on the side of LM's picks.
Absolutely, and I would say that's a decent counter to it, but it's also a little bit risky, right? Because if you do commit the battlefield command onto someone that is getting suppressed by the Liang there, and they do have enough damage to take out the target, it's kind of like a 2-for-1 special. The Han Xing comes in here, so it was actually for the Han Xing the entire time, it feels like.
Oh no, this is a scarily quick game. Look, if Twisted Minds gets the first blood onto either Clean or the side of Shanks, this game is pretty much over. Because look, the Liang and Princess Frost, you know they're tied to the hip. Twisted Minds, Clean is gonna love this because as a Hanjin, you have AoE potential, even with your ultimate as well. And this is going to be a very scarily quick game if Twisted Minds gets the snowball.
Absolutely. It's going to be up to LM to go ahead and make the best out of that one ultimate from Liang here and make sure to get as much value as possible whenever it's up, because every time from the side of Twisted Minds is incredible. They have the Mai, they have the Han Jin, and these characters are going to be darting all around the map, and at a moment's notice they can also call in Nightly to the party as well too. So it's up to them to go ahead and play hot and cold this game, right? When they have that ultimate to go ahead and lock someone down, make sure to do it and get that kill, but when you don't, make sure to back up and ensure that you do not get caught by the monster's kind of mobility and range and kill potential of Twisted Minds.
Yep, we're looking at potential series point for the side of Twisted Minds here, and this one's a scary notion because both teams playing on level 4, but the level 4 power-ups, so many more on the side of Twisted Minds. You have the Unending Sorrow, you have the Battlefield Command, you have the Han Xing Ultimate as well, and there's too much in comparison to what LM offers. I'm not sure if it's enough.
Hey Ken, they got a ghost ship on Ada, okay? And that's all they need here, all right? With the Ada Clash Lane for the side of LM, there is a bunch of mobility, but if they are able to catch them off guard and lock them down with that said ghost ship and such, when they've already expended their resources to go in, it could maybe make something happen, right? They have a lot of control. It's just a matter of if they can apply it to the right targets currently for the side of LM.
Yes, I mean right now it's the same. For LM, it's asking you to drink soup with a fork. It's not gonna be easy. It is gonna give you some value, but you need to perform the best. You need to transform that fork into a spork at this point of time because Twisted Minds will not make your life easy.
Absolutely, and you got to get some of those chicken bits while you can with the fork, because that's what that's for here. I don't know who is the fork here in this analogy. It might be Ada here, because historically that's a bit of a rough pick there in the clash lane. But let's go ahead and see how the early game goes and plays out. Both sides playing pretty slow so far. It seems like LM has been solid about holding themselves in the first 3 minutes of the game or so. We've seen that they don't really fall too behind and get out-tempoed by Twisted Minds. But after that 3-4 minute mark, it feels like they get a little bit unglued. Have they been able to solve that here in game 3? We're gonna have to find out.
There is no way. Ash, he's gonna get first blood for sure. The rest of the backup comes up from the side of Twisted Minds, and they start with a bang. First blood of all the people, it had to go to Clean. Now, this is going to be a 400 goal lead. Not the biggest deficit, but here we go. Nice response from the side of LM, trying to put a little bit of pressure onto 90. This is going to open up the map, but for now, no way, Legend. Goes a flash, really? And with that aggression, actually makes sure there is room to breathe on the side of LM.
That was a great flash in. Sometimes to survive, you don't have to run away. You have to go in, right? He's able to go ahead and flash that stun from the Yuan there. And the early game catch of Clean is, look at this, Clean in another fight here against Ada. Calls in Nightly for some backup though, because he probably is not going to win that 1v1 against Ada. They get dropped super low. Is anything going to come of it? No, actually. Interesting all around. It looks like Clean was going to lose that there until they called in Nightly there. And Ada being able to survive that 1v2, very, very impressive.
Actually, that's the craziest thing. So 90 actually walking towards the middle T1. It was kind of weird for the viewers out there, right? But here's what he's doing. He's actually buying vision for the side of Twisted Minds to decide whether they want to go in for the chase, because there was a kill potential for the side of Wu Qing there, but knowing that the backup has arrived from the side of Now as well as Ash, they made the better choice of not over-aggressing. So Twisted Minds just doing much more efficiently with the information they buy around the map.
Absolutely here. And Clean in the early game has already gotten a nice catch on the Liang. We've noticed in the past he's great at catching people right before their power spikes, right? In game 1, he caught the Yuan before they got...
Oh, nice catch!
He did more great catches before LM is able to go ahead and respond here. Ash, it looks like he did commit the ultimate onto someone, but no one actually went down on the side of Twisted Minds.
That's the whole problem. Who are you able to catch here? And even with the mirror domain, I mean, it has been expanded, right? Look, they can't take Clean out. And for every attempt that you fail, Clean punishes you. Now is the next victim of that punishment. And now Twisted Minds, they have a nice cleanup on the top side as well. 1,000 gold ahead, and it's only going to start snowballing even more, because the moment the map gets open, nobody on the side of LM will be able to contest the split push power of Clean and 90.
Absolutely. Hanshin, one of the most mobile, if not the most mobile junglers in the game, probably, right? Being able to, on command, have 3 to 4 dashes on tap makes it so that he can go in and push one lane and immediately go into the other one. He doesn't have the craziest combat stats, I'd say, the Hanshin. We don't see this pick come out too much, but it definitely has the most mobility there. And if he can't fight you, he'll just go ahead and, you know, run away and push another lane.
Yes, and this is now the scary potential of that 4-minute mark for the side of Twisted Minds. Not only do they have superior movement across the map, they also have the Tyrant buff now to assist them in the fights as well. So everything looking a little bit scary for the side of Level Max Club.
It looks like LM notices that Legend is potentially going to get dove here, starts rotating people down, but no, they see them go ahead and back up, and they go ahead and follow accordingly. We need to see them combo the Princess Frost and the Liang right now. Maybe it's up some sort of ambush, and whoever face checks gets grabbed up. Ada trying to start a little bit of a fight here. Nothing much really comes of it, though, it seems like.
Just nothing. There is no answer. The lead that they have now on the side of Twisted Minds is so far ahead. It might be, you know, just 2,000. Seems like, you know, not too big of a deficit. But the thing is, the burst potential on the heroes of Twisted Minds benefits so much of this 2,000 lead. There is a Mai, there is a Lady Sun, there is Clean. All of them deal massive amounts of burst damage. And take a look at that Wu Qing already falling low. And the T1 at the bottom, nicely traded by the side of LM. They need to do this more.
Absolutely. They do take a tier 1 tower on the side of LM here as Ash looks to try and get some sort of catch here from someone rotating. Ooh, speaking of catches, now gets caught up by the Hanjin, and they're just so mobile. And they're able to outposition, you know, the Liang. They're not getting much value from this ultimate here.
You can't do anything about it because you don't rotate as fast. And as LM, the difficulty here is, look, Ash, yes, you have the suppression, but who are you gonna catch? Because the response is just so quick. Uching, the next one to fall, a Rampage for the side of Twisted Minds, and Clean gets the clean up. They do take a trade in the form of Highlang, but the response coming in Clean is coming for the backlines as well. There is no answer here. Highlang and ACC for the price of Legend and Ash and Uching as well. And finally, Noor, there is no comeback factor for the side of LM, and this is not the time for it. Twisted Minds just rampant around the map.
Absolutely. LM did get a few kills there to try and trade back, but 4 for 2 is not optimal no matter how you go ahead and slice it there. It seems like they were able to get that combo a little bit on board, but they dropped it onto the Yuan, probably the lowest value target you can go ahead and grab, right? Yuan did end up getting taken out there, I think, along with Highlang in just the AoE collateral damage of it all here. But it's like Ken said, it's really tough to come out of this position so far.
Yeah, the save comes through. Maybe they get the shutdown on the Clean. That's great. But where's the rest of the backup on the fight as well? Wait, hang on. LM are doing it. They get 4 members on the side of Twisted Minds, and a lovely over-aggression. Here, LM gets the punish in.
We just actually helped out LM by caster cursing Twisted Minds. Right? We were saying how they couldn't come back. Immediately, 4 for 0 fight breaks out, right? And they catch back up on gold. That is very important. They need to do a few more of those who want to go ahead and catch up. Wow, beautiful flash coming out from Ada there to go ahead and get Lady Sun into the wall there. Forced her to burn her flash too. That was almost a kill as well here. And it seems like they now have the momentum in their favor. But how long can they hold it against the former champions?
That's true. I mean, they didn't even get the T1 there. It's scarily close to being taken down, which is great for the side of LM. But then once again, I don't think Twisted Minds make the same mistake twice, right?
Oh, here we're trying to cast a curse him again. You couldn't tell from Ken's message there. But yeah, it's unlikely.
Oh no, the time was off. Ash, he set up, but the cleanup comes. Clean as well. They take 2, 3 lives from the side of LM. And Twisted Minds, the opening has been shown. Uching the next one to fall, and Noor cannot defend against the 4 members on the side of Twisted Minds. They had to give their life a Clean, but that is the price they're willing to pay because there is no wave clear from the side of Noor.
Depending on what happens here, this could potentially be the end. The timers are really low, but everyone on the side of Twisted Minds here, outside of Clean, is ready to go ahead and take some high ground towers. That's one of the downsides of if you don't play directly on top of each other. When you have Ash, when you have the Princess Frost and the Liang, and you saw there, Princess Frost took a bit to go ahead and follow up. Let's see if they can do it here, though. Beautiful ultimate coming out. And Nightly goes down for a good counter initiate. Now they need to do more plays like that, right? Now when the ultimates are down, they need to back up and wait for them to be up again before they go for these picks. They have a pick composition on their side.
But I'm not sure whether it's worth it, right? You burn so many ultimates, you get rid of 90, maybe you get this Tyrant, but where is the comeback from this, right? Ash now taken down, and here they're looking for the cut around with the side of LM, and I think that opening is going to be apparent on the side. Now actually makes it out, and here comes that burst damage we're talking about. Now Legend and Ash, 3 members down, Uching on his own, and there is no one to stand up against the aggression of Twisted Minds. Noah's going to try and buy some time, cutting the waves in the mid, but how much can he do? Not much, because Noah will be taken down, and ace for the side of Twisted Minds.
Anshin, one of those heroes that once they hit a critical mass, you can see there, is able to just brute force down anyone, right? You can't outrun him. He's able to even take down the tower, brute force 2, probably Master Sword equipped already there. And that was one of those times where they were not strong, right? They didn't have the ultimates ready, so they can't put themselves in a position to go ahead and fight. They did get the Tyrant, but because of that, they were forced to, kind of walk out of their base before they were really ready for combat. And Twisted Minds heavily capitalized.
Yeah, look, once again, it's a 6 6,000 gold lead going in favor of Twisted Minds. And the timing of this is just so immaculate because it is right at the 10-minute mark. They get the Shadow Variants, they get the Crimson buffs as well. And of all people, they give it to Clean, who has instant access into the backline, able to do AoE damage with the Ruthless Assault. And we're looking for the catch here. They're going in, trying to force out ultimates. They will get the Unending Sorrow, but it's a rampage. What a snipe coming in from the side of Clean. Cleans up the entirety of LM, and it's a full team wipe and ace as Twisted Minds. They dominate this game number 3, and it's a quarter kill as the Crystal is going to be exposed, destroyed, and Twisted Minds do it in the most twisted way possible.
Twisted Minds sending a message to all the other teams here. Hey, we're back, and we're back with a 3-0. Look at Clean there. I'm surprised he didn't get SSS, actually, right? That just shows how hard it is to get SSS in the system. He was 14-2, and he still didn't get SSS. And just like that, they are out of there. They're like, we're going to get our 3-0 and bounce.
Yep, it's a valiant effort, right, from the side of LM. I mean, look, the ability to reach the top of Group A, make it into the lower bracket finals here, or semi-finals at this point, a very respectable result. They have performed their best. And bear in mind, this is like, what, this premier season, debut season. To make it here, that's a huge achievement.
Absolutely, and that just goes to show the difference between that Group S and that Group A, right? While LM is definitely a very strong team here, they made it all the way here to the top of Group A. They're still up against some stiff competition. They're up against Twisted Minds. I'm sure they're shocked as well too, right? Not expecting Twisted Minds to be on the bottom of Group. Switched up that roster here, have one of their signature rosters here, and it was very rough. It was very rough, that whole match. All right, it looks like it's very rough for Kindu as he's frozen a bit here. But yeah, that match there, definitely tougher side of LM. They definitely were not prepared to go against someone like Twisted Minds here, the former champions, right, in this tiebreaker lower bracket final here. But good effort nonetheless, as Kin was mentioning, being able to make it all the way out, because we were saying in the past and earlier, people were not expecting them to go very far. They definitely exceeded a lot of people's expectations.
For sure, and yes, my internet has been continually ganked this past few days. But with regards to that, we'll take a look at this new Twisted Minds, right? I am so curious how this is going to play out in the later stages of this competition, because once again, it feels like history is being realized again, right? We're going to have a replay of what happened in spring, because Twisted Minds look a little scary coming in.
Yeah, Twisted Minds, they like living life on the edge, right? They like having one foot kind of in the grave, and that's what makes them play at their peak performance. Because right now, one match loss and they're out, right? It's not like they're OG or 9Z, where the winner of that is gonna have a little bit of a backup plan. They have the Sage's Sanctuary. They are potentially able to go ahead and lose one and still win out the whole thing. From now on, Twisted Minds, if they want to win, they cannot take any more losses.
Yeah, and we know, right? Okay, not taking losses, that's great. But in terms of like Clean performances, this is what they're known for. Clean definitely is the MVP of the day. He is up at 11,000 gold. In fact, already at 6 items, right? The space that he bought for the team, amazing. And in a span of a game that is, what, less than 15 minutes, being able to deal 80,000 worth of hero damage. Clean is just a monster in the jungle.
Absolutely, and they really show you guys how to go ahead and play around that Liang Princess Frost combo. We were mentioning it's a really simple combination, very streamlined and one-dimensional, and because of that, it's easy to play around as well too, right? When you're playing against some of these best teams in the world here, like Twisted Minds, they're able to go ahead and outmaneuver the Liang and really go ahead and disrupt that combo every time they were apart. You notice that every time they were going ahead and apart and they had vision and intel of it, that's when they swung in Clean to go ahead and take them out. They still got caught out a few times there, but when they did, they made sure it was not for free, and they were able to get something elsewhere when they overcommitted all those resources onto one person.
I mean, it really gave me PTSD looking at Clean play, because he reminded me of the Hanshings in my rank, and they just stopped me all the way, right? He shows up, gets one cleave, a few of your members die, and then it's a crystal galore, right? And this is exactly what Clean was displaying to us. This is why it's so scary to give him an early lead. You know, we talked about this. You don't want to give the first blood to either Clean or Shanks, and it happened right off the bat.
We're seeing in the beginning there, right? They identified that Princess Frost was not in the position to go ahead and help him here. So Liang was kind of caught off on his own, so he immediately goes and runs him down. Clean being able to get level 4 much earlier there is going to be able to easily chase down the Liang and take him out. And this is the second time we've seen him kind of identify when those heroes are weak and to attack them at that point. Game 1, it was Masashi versus Yuan. Now it's Hanshin versus Liang.
Exactly, and he was not the only problem they had to face, right? It was also Shanks and 90 as well, the burst potential, the healing potential coming in. And this is the difficulty of the draft on the side of LM. It's a good draft, do not be mistaken. But the thing is, if you're Ash, who do you catch? Because there's so many different people that will be able to turn the tides against LM. There's 90 with the stuns, the dash, the heals, the shields. And then, you know, if you don't catch Clean has instant access into your backlines. Exactly, right? That's the kind of burst damage. With 11,000 gold in your pocket, you cannot expect that you have to give a free pass to Clean.
Absolutely. And the thing about the Liang is not only do you need to catch the right person, you gotta do it at the right time too, right? We saw him get a great grab onto Mai there, which was, you know, a primary target for him, but his teams wasn't really in position to go ahead and capitalize, right? And Princess Ross had to kind of overextend herself to get that ultimate off, which left her vulnerable to the Hanshin, you know, to just blinked across the entire map and it just found her immediately.
Yep, so very scary. This is the potential of playing against one of the top tier teams. Once again, let us remind you, Twisted Minds, they are not any slouch. They are a team that got 4th place at KWC. And this season, fall season of KMW, they're looking to put their best against 9Z, Globant, and OG. So this standards, yeah, it must be maintained because they need this if they're going up against the top dogs.
Absolutely. While LM did unfortunately lose 0-3 here to them, again, they're no slouches. These are the former KMW champions, right? They got 4th in the KWC here. They're against some of the best opponents here, and they definitely got a lot to go ahead and learn to kind of catch up to them. But this was a great environment as well, too, to be able to just have the honor play against champions like that, to go ahead and try and take some of their, you know, strategies and adapt into your own. I'm very excited to see how LM grows from this and the next time they go ahead and play.
Exactly. This is a huge L to take, and I'm talking about learning, right? Because so many things have happened for the side of LM. But for now, we'll take a break. We will bring you the second series of the day, OG against 9T Globant. We'll see you in a short while.
Tapestry of fates interwoven. Caught you. Do not I like that. Hey! You!
Hey!
Stop!
You!
The cursed name, Kaiser.
Will you live for real? Join the party.
Make the whole street a party and add disco balls. Real Me 15 series. Live real in every shot.
Welcome back. It is time for our second series of the day, OG against 90 Globant. This one is going to be a banger for sure.
Absolutely. We've seen him go head-to-head a few times already, and 9Z have, been struggling to best OG, but we were mentioning, when it comes down to the wire in week 3, where the games matter the most, the teams have a certain thing about them. They flip the switch almost, right? We saw Twisted Minds flip the switch there, immediately start 3-0ing. Maybe this could be the time that 9Z can go ahead and flip the switch and best their newfound rivals here, right? I would say before the KMW, no one would say 9Z and OG are rivals, but 9Z has really shown themselves up to be the number 2 seed here from KMW and really put all the other teams to the test.
That's right. We also call this the playoff buffs, right? Where, everyone kind of gets into that zone and it's like, we do not miss, right, at this point. And of course, we started off the day with a team that did not miss at all. Twisted Minds 3-0. What an impressive result. The question now is, what is this series going to be like between OG and 90 Globant? Because both teams, I think they have trained really hard. They're still saving some strats for potentially semis and the grand finals as well. But one of these teams will have to take a detour into the lower bracket grand finals.
Absolutely here. And as we were saying, historically, 9Z has kind of struggled against OG. OG is just still have that tempo that no team's able to match. They don't do anything really gimmicky. It's just that they do honor Kings really, really well, right? They play really fair, but in a way that's just hard to deal with there. And we've seen no team really been able to go ahead and match up to that here in the current league. Can 9Z go ahead and match up to that today? I don't know, but I say OG is one of those teams that against anyone, they have a 3-0 potential, and that's really, really scary.
Exactly. That's the true potential of a scary team, right? Like you can never brush off the thought that, hey, we might get 3-0 here today. Once again, if you're new and you have just joined us, we are heading into a best of 5 between OG and 90 Global. This will be once again played with the global band pick format, meaning you only get to pick those heroes once.
Absolutely. So that's going to go ahead and test these pros' hero pool, right? You're not able to just go ahead and pick one hero, your favorite hero, and play it over and over again and win every single game. The second you play a hero, even if you lose on it, you're not going to be able to play it again. So this is going to test how these teams go ahead and draft, and every game is going to be different.
True. So I want to take a look at the patterns that we have today, but we'll take a look at the first team that is going to be playing today.
So you should never give up. You gotta fight for it. Whoa, let's go. I know you want it. I see the fire in your eyes. You gotta fight for it. Let's go. The battle's calling. You better give it all you got. You gotta fight for it. The time is right for you to win some buck. Yeah. 'Cause you could be the greatest of them all. Yeah. Whoa, let's go. The battle's calling. You better give it all you got. You gotta fight for it.
Here's a look at OG Esports. You guys have definitely seen them all before, all familiar faces, all superstars in their own right. We have Keke in the Clash lane, Dao in the jungle, on the marksman role, Muchin on roam, and Wen capping off the team here in the mid lane.
Yo, what happened to Dao? Why is he seated like that? But OG, I think, making themselves comfortable here, that is very important in every game, right? You want to be able to do your best, so you need to be at your most comfort position. But we'll take a look at the opponents who are going to be looking to make their lives a little bit more uncomfortable. 90 Globant.
So you should never give up. You gotta fight for it. Whoa, let's go. I know you want it. I see the fire in your eyes. You gotta fight for it. Let's go. The battle's calling. You better give it all you got. You gotta fight for it. The time is right for you to win some buck. Yeah. 'Cause you could be the greatest of them all. Yeah. Whoa, let's go. The battle's calling. You better give it all you got. You gotta fight for it.
Welcome the team from Argentina, La Violeta, also known as 90 Globant, represented by WinRJ in the Clash lane, Sick in the jungle, Leffy in the farm, Kapot Seba in that roam, and of course Moon, the silent killer in the mid. This is a team that has had high potential, high hopes, and for the first time in fall season have managed to hit the targets they have set, which is to come into the winner's bracket.
Absolutely here, and another one of those teams. I think the mainstay of this season is a lot of underrated teams gone ahead and moved up, right? I think while 9ZG is a very, very solid team, no one was really expecting them to be the number 2 seed, but they go ahead and prove everyone wrong, just like LM before, right? And make it to the top of their respective groups here. Now they are against OG here, which is, the favorites here, right? Everyone understands them to be the favorites. They had a very, very impressive performance in the last KMW, only really dropping a match at the very end there, and they are going to try and fix that here in this KMW.
This is one of the most scary stats here as we take a look at the head-to-head, right? If you guys remember Kirker's performance in the last best of 5, he was just playing around with 90 Globant, right? He actually was trying to hold the attention of 4 different 90 Globant members, and if you take a look at his total kills, they are still pretty high up there, 65 in fact.
Absolutely, he's able to deal on average more damage and get more, not having that much skill participation, right? So that shows us he likes split pushing a little bit more, playing and operating more on his own, whereas inside WinRJ prefers to kind of play with his team and operate as a unit.
Yep, and still, even with all the distractions, he's actually having a pretty respectable 700 plus gold per minute GPM, right? And that is really something that makes the difference between the OG and 90 Globant gameplays, which is, OG gets to play with a little bit more in their bank, which means they have more damage at times.
Absolutely. OG, what they do so well, right? They're able to all meticulously go through your jungle simultaneously, and it's so hard to react to once they are all in position. And everyone, once they're in position, they know what to do. They know Dao is going to take this, Keke is going to go ahead and apply some pressure here. And since, again, we say it's all at the same time, none of the teams have really found a way to deal with it yet.
True. And I think this is one of the ways, right? 9Z Globant, they understand that OG is a team that loves to play around the map, get the turrets, and play map advantage. So they take away one of the most destructive turret takers, which is the Agudo. So I think, you know what, 9Z Globant, they might be going for a team fight strat here.
Absolutely. We've seen Dowdow play Agudo more and more, right? In the last KMW, he was more known as kind of the assassin player, right? He played the Jing, the Luna, the Paymore. This time around, he likes playing the Bruisers, like the Agudo, and he does still play a Luna a good amount too. Not this game, though, as they opt to go ahead and ban it out. But let's see what happens here for first picks. We see 9Z Globant opt to take the long here, looks like, which is always a safe and reliable pick.
True. So, I mean, OG now in terms of for the lane for An, he can go a couple of ways, right? There is the Consort Yu, there is the Channel as well, or they can do whole Ethereum tier tank build. Many options for OG to explore, and it looks like they will try to go with that frontal tank. So, Organ and Yuhuan, these are two big picks, very good at sustenance in the teamfight department.
Absolutely. They're going to opt to go ahead and save that marksman pick for later. And depending on how much damage the team has there, they could round it out with either more damage or utility. 9Z Globant opts to pick up the Mai here. We're seeing the Mai start to kind of leak through here now. It's not first picked as much as in the past, and immediately gets responded with by the Dharma from Keke that's been so fierce all throughout the tournament.
That's right. This is something that, you know, OG has specialized in, which is to catch out, you know, the unsuspecting members on the side of the opponent teams. 9Z Globant, of course, very familiar with that in their last matchup, and OG looking to reiterate that performance again.
Yep, OG noticing that 9Z had not gone ahead and locked in their Clash laner yet, so they're heavily targeted with RJ there, with the Charlotte and the Guan Yu ban, not leaving him too many options left. He could potentially still go something like the Byron, the Fati are still available here. It's going to be interesting what he opts to go ahead and choose, whereas 9ZG removes the Milady, which is interesting. We always talk about, you know, when busting out the Milady, but it seems like the team don't even want to give him the chance to do so.
Yeah, because it's such an irritating strat, right? And I think 9Z Globant have kind of caught on to the, you know, the methods of OG, which is distractions galore, right? It always feels like OG is doing something else. And 9Z Globant, I like this debut pick for them. The Nerja comes into play, looking at the potential Clash lane, which could cause a lot of problems for OG, especially when you have a Musashi jungle who has instant access into the backlines as well.
Absolutely. They have a lot of lock-on damage, and against someone that's kind of immobile, like the Ho-Yi, right? Like the Dharma, if he potentially gets caught out here, they might be able to end the fight before it begins, and those both do get locked in here. Neza, not a hero you see too often, especially not in game one. Going to be very, very interesting here.
Does OG buy enough space for An here?
I feel like An is one of the few Ho-Yis that go kind of full damage traditional marksman in the past. So it is going to be important that they go ahead and buy him some space. The Liang Po should do a good job of disrupting someone, but there's so many people jumping onto An though that I don't think it's going to be the best game for him to go ahead and try to hyper carry.
In fact, I feel like OG's draft will have a little bit of difficulty, right? Because 9Z Globant, they don't operate on a death ball basis. Everyone can, you know, deliver damage from their individual positions. They don't have to group up, right? The Mine with the Kachosins, you can shoot from far. Nerja jumps on their backline. Musashi goes for a different target, whoever that is not caught by Win RJ, essentially. So it's going to be a very messy fight for the side of OG.
Absolutely. I think inside of OG, they rarely play around An in particular when he's on something like the Ho-Yi. They usually do it when he's on to pick like the Long or the D-Renji a little bit more. So this game, if there was a marksman that, you know, you kind of got to ignore a little bit, Ho-Yi is one of the more self-sufficient ones in the sense that he can just shoot out his arrow, help out his team, and then hope that his team goes ahead and wins the fight from there. We still have Dowdow on the Ogren to go ahead and anchor the fights, and Keke on the Dharma here outputting a lot of damage.
True. I think, you know what, for 9Z Globant to really be able to take this series against OG or this particular game, just make it as messy as possible, right? Do not be baited by Kirker, who will definitely want to put you in a position where you feel like you have to group up and play in numbers, and that's where he's going to benefit.
Absolutely. He's just been so good at just getting into the heads of the enemies, right? Like, even though he goes down, he puts himself in such a good position to go down that he disrupts so many people and gives Dao and On so much time and room to kind of do whatever they want. So let's see if 9Z has gone ahead and wisened up to that, though, because they have played each other 2 times in the past, and OG has came out on top both times. Maybe third time is the charm for them.
Maybe, right? We'll take a look at that. And now with that being said, we'll take a look at one of the best phones out there, the Realme 15 Pro, our official gaming phone, built for performance, made for gaming. Now, smooth, cool, and reliable, just the way that esports demands. If you're ready to level up, get yours now and feel the difference.
Absolutely. Look at the difference here in the mid lane. We see 3 players on the side of OG trying to get this wave pushed in and get that priority, and they are able to go ahead and succeed. When immediately gets to level 2, and he's on the move here, looking to immediately run bottom, apply some pressure, help out On. Level 1 is pretty even on both sides here, though, but they are opting to help different lanes here, right? OG trying to focus more on the bot lane, whereas it looks like Moon is opting to, invade some of Ogren's jungle and try to put Dao behind.
Yeah, definitely. I think you need to slow down the growth for Dao. For now, An has been made secure, right? His farm has been secured so far. They will try to go in. The flash committed. Oh, potential first blood. Nice catch. And Leffy makes it out with a sliver of health. And even with the flash, they still get it. So OG, when survives, has to give his life for sure. He does not make it out. Wait, there's no one else. Okay, he will make it out. So 9Z Globant have a response. A little shy at this point because OG still have the better of that trade.
Wen was so close to getting out there, barely doing enough damage. Camper Saber there with that skill 2, skill 1 combo. If Wen got a little bit more healing, probably from Peace Mode, he might have been able to out heal it. But decent play overall. Definitely gonna set Leffy a bit behind as OG sets up that dive.
True. Now, is it going to be a very big deficit? Not at this point, right? I feel OG definitely still has it in them to be able to look for more because they need to provide space. You cannot get Leffy and give him the chance to be ahead. And here we go. That's the big burst. When it's going to be taken down. And this is a start of a great situation for the side of 9Z Globant. Arrow lands with the stun. Actually gets his hands on the win RJ. But because they have the numbers advantage, it does not matter. And OG, they suffer at the hands of 9Z Globant.
Once again, teams are identifying their early game weakness to the Yuan, right? Before you get that level 4, you are very, very susceptible. And right there, one combo ends Wen's Yuan there. They are able to tick into level 4 now, but teams are going to have to go forward, try to minimize the casualties of the Yuan early game, kind of where it's really the weakest.
Yeah, and look at this rotation by, Moon. They try to set up onto Keke as well. Keke will have to expend his ultimate just to run away. Truth Mantra now gonna be on cooldown. In the meantime, OG, they go on 3-on-1. Is it gonna be enough damage? The save comes in from Capo as well. And here comes the turnaround. Potential 9Z Global win in the team fight. Moon catches a knock-up onto 2 different members, but Dao does have the lifesteal. And for now, OG and 9Z Global just trading blows.
And then in the bot lane, we see Long and Hoi there going at each other there. Long actually opting to use the ultimate aggressively to try and get the solo kill as On goes there and backs up. But lots of fighting all throughout the match there. I'm surprised no one actually went down in either fights.
I mean, they're just squeezing for space, right? And even though 9Z Globant had a little bit of a goal lead, look, it's now wrestled back into the control of OG once again.
Yeah, it's not often we see OG get behind on gold early game, and it's not for long either, right? As they go ahead and catch back up, even though they're down 2 kills, they actually got the gold lead here so far.
Yep, they have to try. I mean, they did try on the side of 9Z Globant to go for a push there, but here comes the flank, the back on the side of 9Z Globant, not looking too good. Arrow not gonna hit the mark, but a nice 3-man catch by Mugen. They know that this is not the actual target, but the 4-minute mark Tyrant is here. This is where the true challenge is, and right now it is low. It's gonna be spined by the side of Dao. Nice catch, and it's Sick that gets taken down. One of the big winning conditions for the side of 9Z Globant gonna be out at the same time. They do get on. Nice catch by the side of 9Z Globant, but they need more damage, and more damage is not going to be apparent because OG, they take the lead, they take the kills as well. Moon and Leffy left with the side of 9Z Globant, and the Crimson Golem is the reward for winning the team fight on the side of OG.
Here we go. OG is going ahead and getting that lead here that they're known for there. They just find these spots, right? So while all that was happening on the bottom side of the Tyrant, Keke was just sitting in that bush waiting for Sick to walk past. The second he walked past, he gets a combo on him and ends the fight before it even begins.
And you know, it just gets worse. OG, they get another kill onto Moon as well, and the potential dive. Once again, Keke does have flash. He does have his truth mantra, and this could be a big situation. Keke with the catch as well. Two members taken instantly as OG. They wrestle back control, but now they look to dominate on the side of 90 Globant. Capo Saber does not have his passive. He will take a fall, and the T2 now under pressure. They don't even get a kill on the Down.
This is just like Twisted Minds versus LM, right? A second ago, they were only down 1,000 gold, and then immediately cascading plays happen. They lose a little bit here, lose a little bit there, lose the Tyrant, lose the Azure Golem, lose the Crimson Golem, 2 towers, and before you know it, in about a span of a minute, they are down 5,000 gold now.
Yep. Look, it's so scary. This potential on OG, they know exactly when to group up, right? And these little edges of fights, limit pushing, has really put OG in a spectacular position. now has a level lead against his counterpart Leffy. At the same time, if you take a look at Dao, he is 2 levels ahead of Sick, which means he is at least 3 levels ahead of the lowest member. On the side, once again, Moon getting caught out. No stun available just yet. They will commit the flash. 2-man catch, and it could be the life of Moon. A godlike coming out for the side of Dao as OG looking so clean once again.
OG just has full control over 9ZG's jungle, and this is how it starts and kind of ends, right? They go ahead and take every bit of farm away from them and don't let them get anything. Sick is desperately trying to clean his jungle before they get a chance here to go ahead and take it out here. Sick trying to, you know, maybe make a cheeky play on the Keke there, and then realizing, hold on a second, we are not in the position to get any solo kills here, and opts to go ahead and back away.
Exactly. It's like always fighting with a deficit that falls out the unending sorrow from the side of Wen. But here comes a turn around. Nice knockup on the backline. They get the duo to the death, but it is not OG that has been caught. It is 90 Globant. And for now, pressure coming in from both sides, mid as well as the bottom T3. This should be a lot of damage coming down structurally on the backlines. Leffy wants to push them back. Not going to be available. OG understand the risk that they're taking. Will back off for now. And Skyfall, unfortunately, committed but cancelled by WinRJ.
Absolutely here. We see OG usually with this composition at this point in the game. They have something like the Gudo to help them siege. They need to play it a little bit slower this game, right? They don't have as much siege potential. So they go ahead and just try and prod at the tower 1 or 2 ways at the time. See Liang Po trying to tank up as much as possible. Oh, Sick getting caught out there right in front of his tower and gets executed.
Yep, beautiful ultimate coming in from An, right? The Burning Sun arrow, burning more than just lives here, burning the opportunity of a comeback from the side of 90 Globant. Now OG have complete control of the jungle, and this half of the map on the side of 90 Globant, the T3 on that mid side going to be put under pressure as well. Defenses crumbling as 90 Globant looking for an opening.
There we go. They sneak the bottom tower as well as the middle tower here, and it's just 8 minutes in, and look at that gold, 20,000 to 28,000 for side of OG. Even though this is the second team, second seed in KMW, OG's making them really work for it.
Yep, this one's a bit tough. WinRJ on the backlines on his own. At the same time, too much damage coming in. They get the shutdown onto An, but it's not enough because the comeback is available for the side of OG. They take down WinRJ and Sick as well. Chasing in Capo Saber in the middle of 3 very tanky members, but also they have the damage on the side of OG with a 9,000 gold lead. A triple kill once again for the side of Dao. This time looking for Leffy. He is so low. There's no way he survived this, right? He will get that save for the moment. But for now, they just push him back. Leffy, the final victim, as Moon tries to put up a defense with his life for the cause, but it's not enough for this moment. OG looking so strong and undefeatable at this point. They get that duel to the death onto the side of Keke. Keke gives his life, but OG still in dominant fashion.
Absolutely. We're mentioning in drafted that they drafted go ahead and lock down one person, oftentimes on, but this game is not really as focused around on, right? It's more about Keke and Dao and how strong they are able to go ahead and anchor these fights. We saw Dao get a triple kill, almost quadra kill last fight, and at this point in the game, he is almost invincible here as he heals up and executes the members of 9ZG.
Yep, they will give it another life in the form of Muchin here. A little bit greedy coming from OG, but is that the start of a potential comeback? Because they forced the flash from from when. He will make it out. The arrow does land. This time it hits on the lefty. But OG, no, not really a lot of punishment laid down by 9Z Globant. They cannot catch a break.
Yeah, it's really rough. They're down almost 10,000 gold now. OG knows if they just go ahead and play it slow, they are going to grind out their opponents here. We see enhanced objectives come up now. As Zhang trying to get a little bit of positioning here, knows he can't really catch any members of the side of OG, but they do potentially catch Keke here as he gets dropped really low with duel to death. He gets away, Unraveling Umbrosa gets onto 2, but there's just too many stats on the side of OG. Look at that. 9ZG, they're landing most of their abilities, most of their combos, but they're all individually up 1 or 2 levels and 2,000 gold. They're just stat checking the side of 9ZG.
Yeah, you're looking fine when you are ahead by 9. That is the motto on the side of OG here as they look to break the hearts and the spirits of 9Z Globant. Pushing back into the crystal here, the minions are going to be available when RJ tries to set up on the back of OG, but it's all for naught because he will be taken down, executed a legendary performance by Dao, and nothing short as Kirka gets the truth mantra, takes rid and gets rid of Sick as they end the crystal at the same time. OG looking so strong in game number 1.
Very, very dominant game 1 coming out from OG here. Dao actually sat back up, so that's how you know they were in trouble there, for sure. But here's a look at the side of OG. Everyone, you know, business as usual for them, right? Ending the game in about 12 minutes. So like, yeah, you know, maybe 10 seconds over our average there. But great game there. It just goes ahead and show once they get a lead what they're able to do with it. We're now seeing the team, they kind of have the first like 3 minutes formula it out, right? Like you kind of know where everyone's gonna go, and you don't really get that behind in the first 3 minutes or so. But once that first tyrant comes out, how you go ahead and maneuver around the map is going to be very important. And it just shows, even in the LMs versus TM series, once you lose that objective, it's cascading, right? They lost that tyrant, and immediately they lost that red. And then since they're trying to fight for both of them, they're losing the fights here. They lost that tier 1, and then since they're trying to defend that one, they lose the tier 1 into the tier 2. And before you know it, you're down like 5,000 gold, and the game is basically over at the 5-minute mark.
Yes, and this is what's so scary about OG, right? They really know when to push against the likes of 9Z Globant. And if we take a look at just a very short comparison of the farm name picks, right? We're looking for the burst potential from Leffy. And you know, that itemization is going to be very clean. You get the meteor, you already have the armor pierce right at the start of the game. And you can also go for the Eternity Blade. It takes a little bit more time for Art as a whole because he does damage over time. But because he had the level advantage, he had the gold advantage, this silent benefit of a burst composition from the Lung did not come into play at all.
Absolutely, and I would say the Hou Yi is a great marksman for this composition here. Even though An prefers to play kind of full damage, it's often touted as a utility marksman, right? And we saw them in the mid game here spend a lot of ultimates, duel to the death, the Skyfall onto the Hou Yi. But he's not really the star of this game here. It's more Dao. When they commit so many resources into him there, he got off his ultimate, he did his job there, and now they have no more resources left to go ahead and take out Dao or Keke.
And this was the one win condition we were talking about, right? So how well does OG force 9Z Globant into a corner where you get them to group up? And that happened almost straight away from the get-go. And this is where Kirka was super happy. 4-man, 5-man does not matter. Very nice truth mantras regardless, because you want to catch as many people as possible. And 9Z Globant were consistently put in that position.
Absolutely, and they really know, you know how magicians, right? They get you to look at this while they're doing something. Yeah. OG is amazing at that. While they were forcing all these small skirmishes in the bottom side of the Tyrant, they didn't see Keke go ahead and sneak into that bush there, the pixel bush there. And when Sick walked through to try and, you know, contest the Tyrant there, immediately gets Truth Mantra into the wall there, and that started off a great fight. We're probably going to likely see that play in the replay, and that was kind of like the turning point in the early game, right? That tiny victory, that tiny catch there from Keke spiraled into a Tyrant, which, as we mentioned earlier, later spiraled into the Crimson Golem, and it all kind of snowballed. Butterfly effect, I think, right?
And it's so scary because I think 9Z Globant, yes, it was a very difficult game, but they tried really hard, right? They were playing as cleanly as they could. The vision score was quite high on the side of 9Z Globant as well. They were able to source out some information, but just the fact that trickle down effect of losing the first fight of the game and second fight continually, the goal gap was so huge that even when they got the correct play onto OG and caught them by surprise, they still lost.
Absolutely. They just didn't have the numbers on their side, right? Everyone on the side of OG was up an item. And I think after a certain point, after 9Z lost a few fights and they recognized they were behind, they also played very timid as well too, right? When you're really behind and you start not going for the crazy outlandish plays, you're never really going to come back. You don't make up a 10,000 gold lead by playing safe. So once OG got them in that position where they were so behind, we see a few times there, they sit in the bush and they kind of, see the members of OG walk past them. Keke getting MVP here, 1-1-14. I thought for sure it was going to be Dao because I don't know if he even went down that game there. But Keke, as usual, always going to be securing and contesting Dao for these MVPs on the side of OG.
14 assists. This Dharma was on a tear, right? Like the way that Keke plays is so interesting and so entertaining to watch because he's always responsible for creating these very uncomfortable situations as an opponent, right? And this is where it all started with, right? That very aggressive level 2 push behind the T1. This is like 1.5 minutes in the game. And this is where they start to build the lead.
There's that play right there. There's that fight.
Exactly.
They go ahead and they fake that fight on the bottom. They let Stick think that he can easily just kind of walk in for a flank when Keke is waiting in that bush the entire time to catch him out. Stick got no value that fight at all.
Exactly, and one of the things that you will notice is there's a couple of things, fights where An actually gets caught, and as a team on the side of 9Z Globant, you're kind of like, hey, I caught the farm laner, right? We're supposed to shut down his gold. But OG just always has a secondary plan ongoing.
Absolutely. As we were mentioning, Dao is like kind of the true carry of this game. You're never going to win if you don't take down Dao. And if you ever spend any resources on there, as you see that he spends so many resources, look at Dao. He's just flying throughout the fight, full HP here, and he's going to anchor the fight so well that you're never going to be able to win a team fight.
Yep, the longer the fight goes, it actually benefits OG even more because Dao then gets the reset, the cooldown, reset on the side of his Death's Precipice. So once that swipe comes down, he's gonna have heals again. And when it's just like a portable fountain, right? He is just healing you as it goes, and that's so scary. Now, with that being said, that is the end of game number 1. A very dominant display by OG. Nothing that we're unfamiliar with. So we take a short break. When we're back, it's time for game 2 of this best of 5 series.
What's a life without its worth? Compromising with what hurts inside. When you let fear decide your fate, you don't choose which path to take in life. I'm finally letting go of everything that still holds me. I'm against the loss, but I won't give up, 'cause it's my time to shine. Standing in the spotlight, and no one back me down. Destiny is calling high. I'm not
Welcome back. We're looking at a lot of dominating plays from the champion team so far. OG and Twisted Minds just really bringing the strength to the table. OG now lead the series 1-0 against 9Z Globant. Phil, what do you think is going to happen in game number 2?
Dude, OG has so much momentum, and I always say they're one of those teams, if they're able to get you 2-0, they're gonna make it 3-0. It's like almost a guarantee, right? They're just able to get in your heads and get that momentum going. And from game 1, I did not see, a different 9Z, right? We saw them play against OG in the past, and I didn't see enough of a difference that would make me think that this was a series that they could go ahead and take. They could prove me wrong in these upcoming games here and maybe make third time the charm. But if they're not able to go ahead and take this series here, they're gonna need to dig through the lower brackets to get their 4th shot at OG.
Oh no, Dada went into mini mode again. I think that's a dangerous sign. But we take a look. I mean, jokes aside, red side this time for the side of 9Z Global looking for the counter pick. I feel like, today is also another learning lesson for 9Z Global. Yes, they have reaped the benefits of being in the winner's bracket, which means they get another shot at the lower bracket finals.
Absolutely, Ken loves his learning, but I would say, hey, it's time for the test, okay? We've learned enough. We've been through 2 weeks of learning. It is week 3 here. It is time for the test, and everyone is going to be tested here as 9Z are properly getting tested now. They've played against OG twice. If they have not figured them out yet, it's going to be really tough to go ahead and take a game off them.
I mean, I'm an advocate of lifelong learning, so we'll see how many classes 9Z Global have left in them, because OG are ready to give them another lecture.
OG is always dishing out classes, right? Here we go. Into the next game here. They opt to go for second pick here, right? So 9Z going to go for those 2 picks, the counter pick side. OG removing the Liang, and potentially something like the Luna is something we often see them go ahead and remove. They opt for the Pei. Let's see. Dharma, actually. Okay. So both Luna and Pei are on the board here. So it could be a game where they get matched up against each other.
Oh, no. OG, they have the Luna open. No way.
They have the Luna with the Liang band. It's like picture perfect here. So we're seeing these top teams, not only are they able to go ahead and pilot these top meta heroes like the Luna, they're able to force them in such a good spot, right? They're able to pick them in a spot where they don't have to deal with a Dharma getting them one-shotted, and they don't have to deal with a Liang being able to hold them down.
Come on, Phil, tell me this is not a lesson. This has to be a lesson, right? You giving Luna to Dao Dao, one of his signature heroes? If this is not a lesson, I don't know what is.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Ken. I've seen some of their previous games. This is not the first time OG is giving them this lesson, all right? They're trying to relearn the curriculum here as 9Z opts to go ahead and try to take it down with the Diadea and the Agudo. Both those characters have decent early game here to go ahead and control the Luna. Now, one thing about Luna is it's not very strong in the very, very early game, right? She kind of needs a level 4, like 1.5 item where she kind of gets durable enough to dart around your team. Can 9Z make enough stuff happen here, potentially invade that Azure Golem maybe and such, and not let her get to that point relatively ahead or even?
They need a level 4, pre-level 4 pick, right, in the farm lane. Because right now, Nua does not hit that power spike, at least until level 4. And then Agudo needs that early stack in the jungles as well. I don't think they would partake in too many team fights. But 9Z Global need to bring the game to OG. Because that's what OG did, right? Pre-level 4, they have a very slight gold advantage, but they have an EXP advantage, which turns the fights around.
Absolutely, and that's because Luna farms so fast, right? Agudo is able to go ahead and match up with that pace here, but Luna can get to that critical mass, where Agudo can't really. Agudo's always going to be around, but you're never going to be like, okay, Agudo's going to 1v9 the game now, right? Whereas Luna can get to that point. If you can kind of just leave her in the background farming up, she's going to get to the point where she has 3 items, has her lifesteal and her defenses, and it's going to be really, really hard to deal with.
Yeah, look, I'm struggling to be in a position of 9Z Global right now, because the next contestant is probably the Clash lane, right? Who would you put in the Clash lane? Because now there's so many independent heroes on the side of OG. There's the escape card of the set sail from the Sun Ce. There's the Infinite Fastest Dragon from the Lung. Then there's the Luna, where she can just dash out into safety. So who's supposed to be the catch on the side of 9Z Global?
Desperate times call for desperate measures, right? Hear me out. Oh, they already hovered it. All right, but I was gonna say maybe cook up the Da Huang into the clash lane here. Grab the Luna, right? Early game, you're able to kind of invade it as well to maybe disrupt it as your golem. But unfortunately, they locked in the Diadea already, so we're not even going to be able to test out that fantasy. And fantasy is what that is. But we see Futsu being locked in from 9ZG. I see a lot of people actually opt to try their luck with the Futsu against the Luna. And it's kind of 50-50, it feels like, right? Are you able to go ahead and trap the Luna before she gets to a point where, you know, she can fight you in your ultimate anyway? Is going to be what decides who wins that encounter.
And we'll see, right? Sages might definitely one of the great answers towards the mobility that is a Luna. But at the same time, both teams also opting for a healing support, right? Now in the form of Secure as well as the Diadea, which means the teams might outlast the duration of the Sages might, which is a cause of concern for 9Z Globant.
Absolutely. And then the Zia here being able to drop that ultimate into the Futsu ultimate there, right? Ensuring that, hey, if you do want to trap up our players and fight it, you're going to have to fight upon our damage as well, too. Not a pick you see too often, but Wen has been known to play it in the past. And that's going to help the Luna even more if they do opt to go ahead and get that blessing onto her as well.
In fact, it might be even be used for An, which kind of cancels out the win condition of a late game Futsu, because then if it truly goes late game, you're playing against a level 25 Tsuya and a level 25 Long, or even a level 25 Luna. Like, that is not good news. 9Z Globant, they have to try and end this game fast, but fast is not in their dictionary based on the BP.
Oftentimes, the blessing will go onto the marksman as they scale the best, right? Once you get past the level 15 there, you mainly just get stats, and marksmen get the most stats there. But if there was a time to deviate, it is probably going to be the Dao Dao Luna, right? Imagine Dao Dao level 25 Luna darting around your team here at, I can't even imagine what time he can get though. If he gets ahead, he's going to get level 25 relatively early there. But it is great late game security for the side of OG, which is not necessarily known for their late game. They're known for dominating the early game and ending the game so early. But now, just in case, they have that backup plan in case the enemy stalls it out.
Okay, so I'm going to help you telegraph a little bit of what I expect to happen. Wen is never going to be in lane. He's just going to be moving around the map, right? Landing his skills, trying to get as much EXP across the map itself. And this means the mid lane waves will be open for Dao Dao to really just eat up, right? And that is where his level advantage will come through. So they have to get Dao Dao pre-4 when he's in the mid lane. That's the only option that I feel 9Z Globant must focus on.
Absolutely. But besides OG, they also have the Secure, right? One of the strongest early game supports here to try and kind of neutralize the pressure that Diadea could bring, and to, you know, try and patch up that early game you're mentioning here, where Luna in the ultra early game is not the strongest, right? Zia is not going to be around to kind of help it as well, to giving them that farm for free. So Secure is kind of that band-aid right in the middle to kind of bridge those early game weaknesses into that mid game.
It's so scary. I mean, okay, I love both teams, but OG, you can't help but wonder, like, is Muchen going to get the first blood for the side of OG? Because you know that Mulberry power, right? It takes close to half your life at that first level, and if he lands it here, it's going to be a very painful experience for 9Z Globant.
Doesn't quite land here, but still lands onto the wave here, and this is going to help Wen get that pushing priority over onto the side of OG. There we go. Look at that skill 1, guaranteeing that that wave gets pushed, and then now Wen gets first move here as he walks in, gets a bit of information on the side of 9CG, sees that they did start bottom side, and again, once that information is relayed, the teams are going to be able to play accordingly.
Yep, look, this is a very difficult game to play if you're on 9Z Globant, because you're so worried about that Mulberry power. But I like this rotation by 9Z Globant, right? They know that the rotations on OG are going to the top. They're going to try and put some pressure onto An. This is a great play. If they can even steal this Fire Beak, that would be great.
It ends up getting reset, but it's not easy, right? An is kind of stuck in between a rock and a hard place here. He has to go ahead and try and secure it, which he does, and still last hit his own minions, which he does. So he ends up doing both.
Dude, this guy is insane. Like, I would never be able to do that. I mean, obviously that's why I'm not a professional. But in this case, look, OG, the response is coming through. Oh, nice pushback. And luckily for them, they do have Moon. So with the creation, you're actually able to push members away, right? And I think that's going to be very vital against players like Muchen, who I think we have already established, right? If he lands that first skill, the Mulberry power onto you, that is a huge disadvantage going into fights.
Absolutely here. And we're already kind of seeing that the side of OG, they're individually so strong too, right? Oh, beautiful flash from both sides there. Muchin trying to go ahead and catch out Lefty, but he goes ahead and instantly flashes that, showing the reaction time of pros on both sides here. But I was saying they're individually so strong. They're good as a team, but look at that. An was left alone and he was able to 1v2 secure everything. Like, that's just so impressive.
Exactly, and oh no, bad rotation. Win. Okay, with the knockup as well. Nice splash attempt. They try to get that first blood on their hands, and maybe this is the opening that 9Z Globant have been looking for. Unable to find anything of value on both ends, but a scary situation nonetheless. Both teams dancing on knife's edge.
When almost getting that ultimate onto the Diadea there, he barely kind of overshot it a bit, kind of maybe assuming Capo Seba was going to run home further than he was going to do, whereas if Capo Seba ended up opting to retreat back into the tower there, if he ran a little bit farther away, he would have gotten taken out there. But that just goes to show the aggression from Sab OG, right? Always when they get opportunity for a kill, they flash forward to go ahead and take it.
Not sure whether Dao actually stole that, but yeah, I think the aggression is very important for the side of OG. And for now, right, it's looking a little bit dicey. Oh, hang on, Moon, maybe the first one, and OG does get the first blood. And of all people, it goes to Wen. That's gonna amplify his level, his EXP. He's gonna hit 15, and that's gonna open up the sanctification doors, and you know who's gonna be on the receiving end of that. And for now, Capo Seba, he does try to go for the jump in, but the support does come in. OG, they smell the next meal.
Absolutely. And while all this is happening, what is Dao Dao doing? We were mentioning in the ultra early game, he's not that strong. He's been just farming all throughout the early game. He has that level advantage. Now he's going to be level 8. He's going to get his first item completed up very soon. And then we're going to very quickly see Dao Dao start to join some of these fights.
Yes, and you can see, right, 9Z Globant, they see that they're on the deficit. They're trying to make a play. They did try to go on the Kerker at the top, but did not work out. And now the rotations have been completely messed up. The timing is perfect for the side of OG. They get the Tyrant on their hands, and it's just 90 seconds of fighting prowess on the side of OG.
Absolutely, that's the power of the Luna's clear there, especially with the long there as well, too. They took out that Tyrant in like 5 seconds flat, maybe there. Before the enemy team can even think about getting in position and reacting, we see An go ahead and push up his lane here. Here we go. 2 onto Keke. Can they go ahead and get something done here? Even the Annihilation as well, too, but it goes wide.
Okay, but they do get the kill. 9Z Globant, that's a beautiful response to the trade on the Tyrant. But here comes Dao Dao looking for an opening. Nice pushback. And this is the value that Moon provides to the side of 9Z Globant. They need a little bit more, though. Dao Dao, he's being so ballsy with this move. 1 on 3. He might even get the kill, and he does. Moon gets taken down. And while this is happening, OG play the map as well. T2 on the brink of destruction.
Why are 3 people running away from Dao Dao there? They had the numbers advantage. They were like, guys, everyone retreat. And even with that, Dao Dao was able to get a pick on Moon under tower there. That just shows that once Dao Dao gets online on that Luna, he really gets online.
I mean, he is level 10, right? He's miles ahead. Look, Moon is only level 7. They can't deal with it. Lefty is level 7 as well. There is no one that is able to withstand the growth on the side of Dao Dao. And that is what's so scary about his Luna. It's not about just a hero pick. It's the way that he executes his hero. And OG are so prevalent at making sure there's room to grow on the side of OG. I mean, this is the kind of fertilizer you want for your plants, right?
Absolutely. It's the art of war, right? Fight when you're strong, retreat when you're weak. In the early game where Dao Dao was weak, we didn't see him anywhere, right? He was just in a jungle minding his own business. He was not in any of the fights. You couldn't even see him on the screen if you wanted to. But now that he is strong, you are going to do nothing but seeing him. He's chasing you down 1v3, getting towers, getting objectives. And he's pushing his lead now that it is his time to shine.
Exactly. Once you have the growth, you become a strong, independent Luna, and there's no one that can stop it. Do they get the catch? Oh, they actually missed the boat. That is a lifeline, but the rest of OG, they are here. They surround him, and he's gonna be taken down. Kerker takes the credit for the kills, and now when the next scary member on the side of OG, he is about to hit 15, and 15 is a number that OG love in every MOBA game.
Absolutely. Let's go ahead and see who they opt to actually, bless you. We mentioned usually that you bless the marksman, right? The scale's the best. But Dao Dao might just be so ahead and feeling himself this game. He's like, Wen, give me the blessing right now. Let's see. It does go on to Ando. Okay, they're playing it by the book.
Yeah, it has to be, right? Because Dao Dao is already strong enough. And for now, he's going to be the one responsible for buying space so that An gets maximum value across the board. Look, An is already, 2 levels ahead of Lefty. I don't see any potential of a comeback from 9Z Globant unless OG mess up.
Absolutely here. You think 2 levels is a lot. Wait until he gets 10 levels ahead, which I actually don't think it's going to happen because if the game keeps going the way it's going right now, they're going to end the game before then here as they're going ahead and knocking onto the doors of 9Z Globant's base already.
Yeah, everyone is home, but nobody is able to answer the call here. And OG, they are going to be looking for the freebies here. Very nice. Even with backdoor protection, they get it. And that is the benefit of having a Lung in your picks, right? He didn't even use the Flaming Palms. It was just the Ride the Wind and Downpour. That's enough damage. That's so scary.
Yeah, when towers get low enough, you just brute force it down, right? They have everyone on the side here. They know they're safe. They don't have to worry about getting engaged on here. And look at this. The Zia constantly applying pressure under the towers there. That ultimate does damage to the towers as well.
Yeah, that was so scary. Like, I was expecting Dao Dao to go for the finishing blow, but it's all just to buy time, right? They want the T3s first, go for what is important. And with that OG, they managed to put a wound on the top side of 9Z Globant's base.
And this is only 8 minutes. Sometimes I watch these games, I feel like, wow, they're like 15 minutes into it. It's not. It's just 8 minutes. The enhanced version of the objectives have not even spawned yet, and they have 2 high grounds down on the side of 9ZG. They have not figured out how to go ahead and pass the test that is OG.
And look, the itemization by Dao Dao, it's so safe. He doesn't even have the actual damage items onto Luna just yet. Augur's Word, defensive item. Insatiable Tomb Lifesteal, defensive item. Protector Cuirass, also defensive item. So once this Luna Dao Dao gets his hands on the attack base items, this game is pretty much over.
Absolutely, and he's just so ahead in levels, right? He has identified that he doesn't need more damage. He has enough base damage here. He just needs to go ahead and survive. And that's how he's able to jump in these fights and constantly be able to survive it. Look at this. He jumps in and then deletes the Futsu there, right? He's still level 15, full HP, and they're going for more.
Yeah, they could have taken out An with that movement, but because they were baited by Kirker, attention on to a different member on the side of OG. 9Z Globant, they have no answers. They're gonna try the mount that last bit of defense, and here we go, a killing spree for the side of win. The base is open, and the crystal will be broken down as OG look to end the series in a dominant fashion. Series point for OG.
What were we saying before? What was I saying before? Once OG gets that 2-0, it's almost like their 3-0 is like guaranteed, right? They're just so good at building that momentum, and they just get stronger and stronger. As you see, this game was even cleaner than the last, even less casualties. Only 1 person died this game here as they take a 7-1 victory, and this was before 10 minutes.
Pre 10 minutes game, I mean, this is what you expect when you give a Dao Dao a Luna, right? Dao Dao famous for his Luna performance, and this is one of his signature heroes as well. So I think it's pretty clear 9Z Globant is testing strategies. They're trying to get maximum value of getting destroyed, right? The lesson is here. Let's get some research papers in.
Absolutely here, and they have potentially 1 more lesson here, so they better go ahead and get in that training, right? If they want this to go the distance and get as much intel as possible, they need to get on the board here, because now they're staring down match point from side of OG.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely, I think if they can take 1 game out of the series, it will be great. Now, for OG, of course, they already have a splinter in their record, right? Losing 1 game against the side of TM. But we'll take a look at who... Yeah, it's a test. You have to take an L at some point.
Absolutely. Hey, they got it out of the way early, right? We were joking about how last time they took it right where they didn't want to take it, right? At the grand finals. Now they're like, all right, we had to get it out of the way early, all right? Get all your jitters out. We got our 1 loss out. Now all wins, full steam ahead. And so far that plan has been on schedule for them.
Yeah, they're kind of making me dizzy at this point. So I need a breather, but we need to take a look at itemization, right? I want to cover like Dao Dao's itemization. One of the reasons why they had so much success on the side of OG was also the fact that he was actually able to tank it up. And this is, I would think, that the OG special that a lot of people have been trying to figure out, right? How is this distraction working so much? It's because you cannot leave Dao Dao alone.
Absolutely. He's just so ahead. You mentioned he itemized so defensively as well, too. This is something that I think a lot of players can go ahead and learn from. They think that when you're ahead, you actually want to itemize more damage so you kill the enemies even faster. While that's good, you leave yourself vulnerable, right? A wise man told me once, if you're in a zombie apocalypse, you don't want another pistol. You want some riot gear on. You already have one of them, right? If you buy another pistol here to go ahead and dispatch the zombies or the enemies quicker, you're still always going to be at risk of getting bitten. But the way Dowda itemized that Luna there, as you mentioned in the mid game, they stood no chance. He had that riot gear on. He had the Algren's Ward, the Insatiable Tome. He was so durable there. That's a pretty typical Luna build though, but that's some philosophy that you can apply to a lot of heroes, right? If you know you're ahead, you don't need to build more damage all the times. You just need to do enough damage to take out your opponents, right? You only need to do 100% of their health. You don't need to do 150.
Exactly. And I think the quote for that is, if you want to thrive, you have to survive. And OG did more than survive with this one. They really just tore into the backlines of 9Z Globant. There were a couple of things that happened, right? Like, actually, with RJ, he got a couple of nice Sage's might, especially onto An as well. But because they were so preoccupied with Dao Dao, so preoccupied with Keke, there was no backup. They couldn't get the finishing blow onto An as well. So with that, it's really like we're looking at a magician in the form of OG pulling out bunnies from all the different hats, and 9Z just unable to keep their eyes.
And I need to pull out a microscope to try and find any bits of red on this graph. I think for like a millisecond in the early game, 9ZG was potentially ahead 1 gold. But ever since then, look at this, just a mountain of blue in favor of OG.
And here we go, Dao Dao, 1-0-3. Is that a very impressive scoreline? Not really, but the damage that he did, you know, both emotionally and in the game physically, yeah, this one is hard to recover. Another L for the side of 9Z Globant, but this one, lesson learned in pain, has to be one of the most important signs of growth for 9Z Globant.
Look at this. This play is just like ridiculous on paper, by the way, all right? Dao Dao chases down 3 people. 3 people are running away from him in the early game here, right? And then he ends up still getting a kill on one of the 3 people while they're under tower. It's not like they all had 1 HP. They were all relatively healthy there, and he was still able to come out ahead in a 1v3 under the enemy tower.
I mean, this is why the level advantages are so important, right? Especially, I mean, level 3 level advantage, it almost guarantees you as a one-shot combo team, right? Or one-shot combo hero. And here we see, I mean, this attention being captured by Keke was one of the reasons why they could not finish An off. And now they have to start a brand new battle with a 4v5, you know, position. And, you know, numbers advantage always matters.
Absolutely. And we got to also shout out Wen, right? We don't talk about Wen too much, but I think the Zia play was really good. He was always where he needed to be. He pushed the waves to ensure that they couldn't really get into their side of the jungle and disrupt Dao Dao while he was kind of, you know, in his hyper training arc in the early game, right? And he did his job there on Zia, blessing on at the very end there. His build is just probably full utility there, opting to just disrupt the enemies because he knows he has enough firepower on his team with that Luna, with that Long.
It's so scary. I mean, every time you see an old man, and this is one of the things, if you see an old man in battle, he is the one that you have to fear the most because you don't know what he has experienced and what he has learned. So with that, I mean, Sanctification was a big win condition, and with that, we end the second game of the best of 5 series. Series point for OG, we're gonna take a short break. When we're back, we'll see if OG completes the Cinderella clean sweep of 9Z Globant.
Sound of the rain. No matter how I feed the flame, you know I feel the darkness and the pain. All of the ways we tried
so high, light up the skyline. Let's do it this time, like it's a whole new vibrant world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Now I see that I got everything I need. It's alright, I'm on fire, I'm alive, 'cause now I fly so high, so high, light up the skyline. Let's do it this time, like it's a whole new colorful world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Like we're the only ones in this world. Never thought we'd get this far, burning like the stars. How we get this far, like we're the only ones in this world. Like we're the only ones in this world.
Welcome back. It is time for the potential match point for the side of OG Esports as they look to perform their best against 9Z Globant. Phil, we were talking about this. Does the Milady come out in this game?
We want it to come out. I think it's one of Wen's favorite picks too, because you see him kind of shoehorn it in sometimes. Like when they're up 2 games, right? And they're like, all right, you can kind of pick whatever you want here. We're in a really good spot. He likes to lock it in there. And we actually saw it get respect banned away, right? We're mentioning how Milady has a great matchup against Mai, but since Mai's already picked, that is not going to be the factor anymore. Let's go ahead and see what Wen actually opts to pick, right? His role on the side of OG is usually more supportive, so he's very flexible in what options he has, right? You can pick the Zia, as in Zia, which is a pick that you don't see very often. The Milady could be seen as a more supportive pick as well, right? They're able to constantly push their lane, keep their lane opponents in lane, and force that kind of 1v1 there. But that would be a really great sight to see. But they can honestly really pick anything right now. They're at the point where they're called in the zone, right? They're in the zone. They're up 2-0. This is going to be a really, really hard match for 9ZG to go ahead and take.
Exactly. I think OG here, you just go for the tower push strat, right? Agudo, Direnjie, or Agudo channel. And I mean, there's so many options they can explore. The whole E and Gan and Mo combination still fully available. Liang, Princess Frost still available. They can even do like those super cheese strat with the Da Chao and the Flowborn tank. Like, just be a menace, essentially. 9Z Globant, they also have these options, but I mean, being crushed 2 games in a row, this is a tough pill to swallow, man.
I think OG just is one of those teams that they have too many like it feels like insta win picks, right? They actually opt to ban out the Liang for potentially a pay maybe, right? But if Liang goes over through, you do not see OG lose very often on that Liang. So they have all these hero picks individually that if you ever let sneak through, can go ahead and practically solo win the game, it feels like that Luna from Dao Dao last game. And here's another one of their signature picks, Keke on that Guan Yu. One of the, first people on the global scene to popularize and play Guan Yu in the past. Now a good amount of Clash laners can kind of pick it up and play it, but Keke really played it when people didn't really give it that respect yet.
So OG looking for a tank jungle, I presume, as 9Z Globant, they're going for the double Ds, a slightly different composition now, Dolia and the Dharma. I'm pretty sure we're looking at a Dun, right? And then there's a potential of maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I think that's the extent I will push it for the Dolia pick. Yeah, like there's only so many options you can go for. Now, OG, they respond with the Agudo. So yeah, we're looking at that simple game plan, right? Just run down the turrets.
Absolutely. I think they're just going to keep it simple this game here. Pick up the Agudo. That's another one of Dao Dao's most played heroes here in the KMW. So they go ahead and lock that in. The Renji, always a safe pick. So OG kind of rounded out their core now. Will they go ahead and lock in that Milady that we were mentioning before? We're going to be yet to see, but it kind of makes sense, right? It kind of fits the theme with the Agudo. They could just go for that super siege composition.
That's true. Now, 9G Globant, they feel like they need a little bit more survivability. So they're going to get the Yuhuan. This is going to be the double unending sorrow. Both deals damage and heals the team. So I think that's a great idea. Now, 9G Globant, what jungler would you pick? A tank or an assassin?
I would say no matter what jungler they pick, it's going to be a tough game. But we've always seen 9ZG, when they need that X factor, they need to lock in something like that Fade, right? Like that Lamb to really have the clutch potential. The Lamb does actually get banned away, but OG maybe, okay, no, they actually banned out the channel second. I was thinking maybe they could ban out the Fade too, because that's like such a clutch pick for the side of 9ZG. And that's what they really need to go ahead and win right now, right? They need to go ahead and bust out that clutch potential. If they play it by the book says they lose, right? They've been losing in the past versus OG. They need to go ahead and surprise them here, I'd say.
Yep, definitely need a surprise, because this one, look, 9G Globant, I like the idea. They want to hold this game off as long as possible. But then OG, look at the setup. This is a scary setup.
There it is. The Fade comes out. I was talking about they needed that X factor. The Sick on the Fade is that X factor. If he's able to pull off the early game and get going here, he has a chance versus any team, right? We've seen him take games versus OG in the past. But look at OG. They lined up a composition that kind of plays into something like that Fade, right? The Ganemo Motsu, great artillery on the side of OG, but very squishy if they get caught out.
True. I mean, for Wen, I think his primary target probably will be just Moon or Leffy, this two, right? I don't think he's going to be in charge of trying to catch out Sick on the Fade. Meanwhile, on the side of 9G Globant, Fade needs the best, I mean, the Dream Star on his jungle. I think they need to try and funnel the first blood kill into the side of Sick. If he does not get it, then 9G Globant are going to have a very difficult game ahead.
Absolutely. He has a lot of targets on the side of OG. It's just, is he able to get to that point where he can take them out? This is still OG we're talking about here. They are not ones to be targets. They're usually the hunters, not the prey. Is Sick going to be able to flip the script this game? I'm very excited to find out.
Actually, one of the interactions that I'm looking forward to is actually if Sick dives onto Wen. If Wen gets like a perfectly timed guard her grave, knocks him back, then, you know, this Fade just instantly becomes useless.
Absolutely. But the thing is, if Sick just breathes on you, you know, with any semblance of items, you are going to be able to go down, because Sick's combo is laced with crowd control as well too, right? So if Wen needs to kind of predict it, I would say, in a sense, where he needs to kind of time when the second Fade's going to land, because if Fade's on top of you already, you're knocked up by a skill 1 and you're probably encased in Jade already. So that's going to be an interesting matchup for sure. This game is going to really rely on Muchin as well too, to kind of harass the Fade while it's in the wall there. That Cannon Blast is really good at disrupting that Fade.
For sure. I think it really comes down to how much disruptions can you offer, right? Muchin not having the best start, actually missing a couple of the Cannon Blasts already, but they do get a wave clear, so 9G Globant, right? I really feel like this game is dependent on the two members, which is WinRJ as well as Sick, right? If WinRJ is able to get those 5-man truth mantras, Sick is guaranteed a 5-man kill.
Absolutely. And then they have the late game potential of that Garo too, but again, not a hero that has that much agency. You know, he's mainly just going to be sitting back waiting for, you know, his team to go ahead and get them into a position where he could carry in the later parts of the game.
Okay, so I like this movement by 9G Globant. They put quite a lot of pressure, but here comes the Agudo, right? So Dao relieves that pressure, does not manage to save it. Oh, hang on, Dao now in trouble. Harden Jane Mark gonna be let loose, and this is first blood of all the people. It goes to Sick. This is dream come true.
That's what we're saying. That's exactly the start we need for Sick here. Go ahead and get ahead early, especially a kill on Dao here too. Getting his counterpart behind is going to be great. Keke taking a bit of a 1v1 against WinRJ here. Both of those Clash Laners not really known for their 1v1 potential. They're mainly just kind of there to pass the time until those mid to late game team fights come down.
I find it so funny because this is the dual meaning of Dream OG, right? So obviously a beautiful dream for the side of 90 Globant. They get the first blood onto Dada of all people as well. Now this is going to be recovery. Kappa Saber uses his wave breaker to dive away from the damage, and with that 90 Globant, they respond to the punishment and that recovery.
Absolutely. Can Sick keep this momentum up though, or will OG, just leave it right there, right? At that 500 gold deficit that they keep in here, it's up to them to go ahead and extend their lead, because OG is good not because they're able to maintain a 500 gold lead, it's because they're able to churn that into 1,000 gold, into 2,000 gold, into 3, 4, 5,000 gold, and that is what is the hallmark of a great team.
Yep, I think it's about keeping them busy. They do catch their eyes on the winner RJ, who is going to be forced to move back. Kirka with the Razor Cavalry, unable to find a catch, which means he is in danger right now, needs to run off. And with the chase down by Sick, there is no more aggression coming in from side of OG. They have to be content with this level of gold deficit that 9Z Globant have put them at.
Absolutely, but I would say they're not that behind. It's relatively even here. So even though they did get that 1 kill in Dowda, they're not really able to convert it off much. In the ultra early game, that usually is what happens, right? Because you want to go ahead and get jungle farm to extend your gold lead. But in the very early game, both junglers just clear their jungle and then fight, and then there's nothing to really steal there. So if there was a time to die, I would say that was it.
I mean, it's kind of scary, right? Because even though they got the first blood onto Dao Dao, actually the level discrepancy between Dao Dao and Sick isn't that much. It's about half a level, and that's a little bit of a concern if you're a 9Z Globant fan. They need to do more.
Yeah, the agency and the burden is definitely on 9ZG to make something happen, because Dao Dao is going to be very content with just farming out in jungle and playing for those objectives, whereas Fade is one of those heroes where if you farm all game, you're likely going to lose, right? So he needs to go ahead and make some of these plays.
They need more. Here comes the refresh. Capo Seba giving the secondary unending sorrow. They want to make a push here, and this is great. Arn is falling a little bit low. 9G Globant, I love this recovery. They're doing exactly what OG was dishing out to them in the first 2 games, which is you have to choose, and there are a lot of options.
You got a lot of damage comes out onto Moon there. Has to burn the unending star to go ahead and get away there with that untangibility. Once you get hit by a cannon blast, you know if a Ganimo is around, you have a lot more damage coming your way.
And here comes the catch. Kirka looking for the backline. A nice catch. Lefty gets left for dead here. And he's going to be the first victim as Kirka looking for a little bit more. Potential triple for the side of OG. They get the life of Kirka, but they trade it out for 3 lives. A big trade for the side of OG.
Keke on that Guan Yu is different. You can see it already, right? Usually, we were mentioning early, he plays these picks that distract the enemies. He's not distracting him anymore, right? He's sending them back to base this game with a beautiful flank here, initiating the fight with a 3x crucial crowd control under the tower of 9ZG. I think you can only hit 3 people there, right? So that is the literal maximum there he got on that roam there.
I mean, you can catch as many members as you want, but it was just 3 for the opportunity. And OG, they always oblige. And this is what's so scary. One mistake. Look at the map. They lose that T1 in the mid, and here we go. They're going for that recovery kill. They get their hands on to Wen, but is there more? They need a little bit more because Win RJ falling low. He cannot be traded here, and he will be. And 9Z Global unable to find still that winning edge against OG.
Absolutely. Wen ended up face checking Sick there, which is not the healthiest thing to do as he dispatches you immediately. He opts to go ahead and run back away. Unfortunately, Win RJ does not have the luxury of jumping over a bunch of walls.
Oh, big kill!
Jump over a bunch of walls. No, it was not quite enough. I could have sworn that was enough to take out Keke.
Yeah, I would have doubled down and backed you up, but that was not the case. And once again, OG make a better trade. They take a T2 in exchange for the T1 on the top. And 9Z Globant Dao Dao, he's looking for a target. The stun does come in from the side of Muchen. And this guy now did not hit the initial marks, but he is very hard to deal with at this point. The cannon blasts have been very disheartening against the side of 9Z Globant. There is a wraparound though. Can they get the catch? Here comes the potential catch by Moon as well. They want on. They have their eyes and set on him, but there is no dive coming in. And with that, OG make it out safely once again.
He was getting flanked by Moon there on the Yuan, and while Yuan does damage, it's not really known for the damage. He's one of the more tame mid laners, so he was able to go ahead and survive that. Keke here is not trying to let the enemy survive there. Hits beautiful 3-man skill 2s there and actually ends up getting away.
I mean, the heroic charge. This guy was a hero. He did not even fall. And OG now just... Look, it's so disheartening for the 90 Globant fans because it feels like there is always a chance to come back. Sick is actually crawling, matching pace with Dao Dao, but they can't find any window of opportunity.
Absolutely. All while that's happening, Dao Dao's just content with the pace the game's going right now so far, right? He sees a tower every now and then, he goes in and gets it down. There's 2 high grounds down, not high grounds, tier 2s down for the side of 9ZG already. And the next time they win a fight, they're already knocking on the door of 9ZG's high grounds.
And same process, right? Look at what Dao Dao is building. He's building defensive items all over again. Ominous Premonition, he hasn't even completed his giant grid. And for now, they're contesting. 9Z Global, they have to protect this spot, but it will be stolen away by Dao Dao. Looking for that final strike. Forces out the unending sorrow from the side of Moon. Now, this is going to be a lack of resources for the side of 9Z Global. Just OG finding all these advantages for himself.
Absolutely. Dao Dao identifying that he doesn't need to do damage this game, right? He just needs to not get one shot by Sick, and that's exactly what his itemization here achieves. He's going straight into the Ominous, into the Giant's Grip, 2 beefy tank items to start the game off with here, because he knows the burden is on 9ZG to make these plays and get these kills.
Yep, and he slows down the attack speed of Lefty as well, which is one of the core win conditions on the side of this Garo pick. So unfortunate, but just OG just know what 9Z. Oh, hang on, that's a nice true mantra. Very nice follow-up, but there is no kill, no follow-up. In fact, it's a trade. Dao Dao gives his life for win RJ. At the same time, they push the members on the side of 9Z Global back. Arn is falling low, but the stun comes in, and Muchen, the difference maker for the side of OG, as Kirka lands a little bit more pain on the side of 9Z Global.
Look at Sick here, waiting in the shadows, looking for potentially a catch on someone escaping here. Barely does not see Wen, because if he saw him, I'm sure he would have hunted him down there. But 9ZG, they're staying alive, right? They get trades. It is tough, though, because even when they get these beautiful, amazing engages, at the end of the day, it is just a trade. And that's because OG is able to set himself up and be so ahead to the point where, you know, even a trade is kind of good for the losing team.
True, and here's one situation that you will see being presented multiple times. This is Muchen lands the Cannon Blast, and then there's a threat of the couple blades coming in from the side of Wen, and then Moon has to expend his ultimate prematurely before fights. So this is one of the reasons OG is actually winning as well.
Absolutely, it just does such a good job of baiting out, right? Because if you don't want to commit the ultimate, there's a good chance you just die to those blades. But if you do commit it, they can easily go ahead and back up. It's so non-committal. The Cannon Blast and the Furball from Dao Dao, they're just able to bait out so many skills from the side of 9ZG, where if they don't commit, they die, and if they commit, they waste their ability to just
Yup, he manages to find the backlines. They're gonna try and force it out again. Lefty being caught out. There's no way he survives this. Oh, there is a miss. Maybe a turnaround. The heal does come in. He sprays his life. Kirka 1-for-1 against Lefty, but the damage has been done. P3 on the top, safe for now. But OG, they have a wave crashing in the mid side. So 90 Global, they need to be careful with their next decision because it could spell the opening into their base.
Absolutely, it has to be a nightmare playing against Keke's Guan Yu as a marksman. Lefty was full running, even flashed away under his high ground tower, might I add, and he still gets pushed out and taken out.
The scariness of OG here as Dao Dao secures a Shadow Tyrant for the team, and this is going to be 90 seconds of potential teamfight wins against 90 Globant.
Absolutely. If they were not winning team fights enough, they're sure going to be winning them now. Look at Wen's build on the Ganemo. So there's 2 builds you can usually go. The cooldown reduction style build where you spam a lot of blades and apply burn and stuff. And then there is the one-shot build that Wen is going here with the Staff of Reverberation and the Tome of Wisdom. If he lands these blades, it's going to do so much damage.
I love it so much, and maybe Lefty is looking a little scared at this point, right? Most people, oh, hang on, there's a nice catch by Sick, but there is no follow-up. There is no option. When RJ did have his flash, did have his ultimate, but once once again, they just are unable to play the game. And with that, they do make the catch by WinRJ. Who catches who? It is OG that takes rid of 90 Globant here. Kirka once again with the beautiful catch. Gives his life for the cause. But 90 Globant, there is no more answers. A wave is coming in from the bot and the mid. And the crystal fully exposed. 90 Globant, lesson learned as OG step up into the grand finals.
I gotta say, it is kind of funny how much Keke is like a heat-seeking missile onto Lefty there on the marksman that game. We see all these fights break out, and he's like, wait, target acquired. Lefty is in base, immediately runs behind the crystal to push him out and get him killed there. And that's why I mentioned it's such a nightmare playing against Keke there on the Guan Yu. But there we go. OG takes the 3-0 here. We were mentioning Dave's just one of those teams that just has so much momentum, right? If you're not able to shut them down early, they're going to be able to pull off that clean sweep. And that's exactly what they do here. And this is the third time in a row they actually beat 9ZG.
And it has been the most commanding defeat, right, on the side of OG. Very clear understanding of what the win conditions are on the side of 90 Globant. I mean, Kirka this game, masterclass, I would say, on the Guan Yu. It is, to me, one of the best performances because it shows that you can still take a fall, take a knee, and still give value to the team.
Absolutely, and he's just great at that, right? We always mention Keke. He's always down to cause havoc and buy pressure for his team. This game, this final game particularly, he was more the initiator, right? Usually you see him kind of goof off and then 1v4 and then let himself get caught in a advantageous position for his team. This time he's like, nah, no more of that. We're going in for these kills here, gets these dives on and enables all these beautiful fights for the early game of OG.
True. And, you know, even in, let me reference you to shooting games, there's something called trigger discipline, right? So where you see your opponents, but you don't pull the trigger. And that's exactly what Kirka did, which is he caught eyes on WinRJ, did not make a move, did not push him back, did not try to rush for that solo kill. In fact, once he made sure he knew that WinRJ, as well as Sick, left, hey, information overload. Hey, there are 3 people in the mid. That is my actual target. And that's when he really pulled the trigger and 90 Globant had a price to pay and it was a heavy cost.
Absolutely. As we were mentioning, it's just like Lefty, he just can't play the game today, right? He's on the Garrow, a relatively immobile marksman there, and he even like breathes in the wrong direction. And then Keke is running full speed at him there. Doesn't matter where he was, under his tower, and even at the end there, you see he was inches away from his crystal. And then Keke's like, nope, I'm gonna go ahead and reel you back out here. And that is full tank Guan Yu as well too. So he can take all these tower shots as he's going for all these dives here to fish out that Garrow.
It's insane, right? And the craziest part, if you take a look at Six scoreline, 4-0-1, this guy was actually having a great game. He had the first blood on Dao. He got a couple of kills after that, and it looked like 90 Globant were ready to come back and turn the game around. But then Leffy, unfortunately, it's not his fault. He can't do anything. Kirka is just a menace this game.
Absolutely. If you look at the composition from 9ZG, they don't really have much to go ahead and protect him, right? Like, we have the Dolia to give him heals, but does it really matter if you get healed if you're constantly being shoved into the enemy team, right? There's not enough healing in the world that will save you from that. They needed to have like a more, like a tankier kind of support to go ahead and get that done. But from the drafting, we know that 9ZG has used up some of their tank supports in the past, and some of the other ones were potentially banned away here, leaving them not many more options to protect themselves from that Guan Yu.
I mean, they were hoping that OG was going to group up, right? That's why they picked the Dharma. But unfortunately, OG would recognize the fact, and it was like, you know what? We're just going to send Kirka, one person. You want to use your ultimate on him? Sure, give him the truth mantra. The rest of our team will clean you up. And that was the situation and lesson presented over and over again. And 90 Globant did not pass. So OG, like we said, MVP, Kirka, 5-3-1. A master of going 1v4 and still making it out alive with kills.
Absolutely. And every time I watch pros play Guan Yu, I think it's the most overpowered hero ever. He goes full tank and he runs at the speed of light and does a bunch of damage. But then when I go home and play it myself, I'm like, this hero sucks, you know? Like, I get no kills on it. I constantly mess up my combos here. And this is the difference between someone that has mastered this hero like Keke and the average player. You know, he makes it look so easy, but that is one of, if not the hardest heroes in the Clash lane to play in the game.
Yeah, look at that. They force him to to use the truth mantra on the side of Win RJ, and the trades are not worth it for the side of 90 Globant. And one of the most impressive things that you will find out about OG's gameplay is the fact that there is always something else happening in the middle of this chaos, right? The waves are being pushed, turrets are being taken, and then you find yourself after the dust has settled that, hey, actually we're not in a great position here.
Absolutely. And then we see Dharma there with a last-ditch attempt to go ahead and try and take out On. But D Renji is one of the best counters, actually, to the Dharma pick, being able to pop that legal immunity. He did like a frame-perfect legal immunity there to the point where it felt like he wasn't even crowd-controlled by Dharma there. So they just had all these checks and balances in place for their teams. And this is the power of OG, right? Individually, we mentioned they are all-star players, right? On top of that, they're able to draft a perfect composition. On top of that, their composition is just good against the opponent's composition. They have all these things going in favor of them, and that's why they make these 3-0s look so easy.
I mean, that has been the story of OG, right? Regardless of any game, OG has always had the model of power of friendship. And now the Dream OG model is coming true. Now the question is, of course, this is our last series of the day because we're heading into the Grand Finals, Semi-Finals, and Grand Finals tomorrow. How does this OG look against the current Twisted Minds? Do we get a rerun of spring season, or do we get a brand new storyline here?
OG probably the only team I know that has beaten their enemies multiple times in a row, only to lose it during the grand finals. Not many teams can say that, right? So that's why we can never count these other teams out. Because I was just in this position in last season. We're like, OG is unstoppable. They're destroying everyone. They have no losses. And guess what? They lost when it mattered here, right? So I don't know if it's nerves or what, or TM is just one of those teams that truly saves their ace for the very, very last moment here. But that's going to be very exciting games for us to go ahead and watch over tomorrow. You can never count out the opponents, but it always feels like OG, you know, they're in the driver's seat, right? It's up to if they are going to crash or not.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's so scary, but refreshing at the same time, right? Now, with that being said, I think this brings us to the end of the day here for KMW, the west side, the best side, of course, and we will be seeing you tomorrow. Phil will be back. I will be taking a short break. And of course, we wish you the best. Phil, any last words before we end?
No, this is just such an action-packed day. I didn't even think about closing remarks. I was just so busy thinking about, just in my mind, I'm just constantly playing back Keke running down the Garo, which is so amazing in that game. Such a great show being put out by all these teams here, masterful performances. Guys, make sure to support the streams, all the players, everyone, Kindofu, me as well, to everyone, so that we can go ahead and put up these productions more in the future.
That's right. So it's been great. It's been fun. We'll see you tomorrow for the grand finals, and we'll find out our winner from KMW and who we're sending as a representative of KMW for the final call as well. We'll see you tomorrow. Are we not ending? I guess not.
Okay, not yet. Let's get back onto it and check out some of the stuff here. Okay, we're not ending it, guys. We baited you there, okay? Just like how potentially Twisted Minds can be baiting all of us, right? They saved their super secret roster to the very end to swap in nightly. I'm not sure if that's their plan from the beginning, or they just decided to, you know, bust out at the very end here. But that's definitely a huge highlight coming up here. Twisted Minds is going to be versus 9Z Globant tomorrow. And we see 9Z Globant, they've beaten Twisted Minds, if I'm correct, 2 or 3 times in a row now, right? Is nightly going to be the difference?
I feel like, yeah, probably is, right? Because the way that 9Z Globant have brought the games over to the side of TM has been scarily good. That's the thing. Like, I feel like TM did not hit their strides playing against 9Z Globant because they were forced to fight all the time. But now with 90 in place, who is arguably one of the best Clash laners out there. I mean, Clean was doing pretty good, but now you have 90 putting up the Clash potential and Clean going back into his natural state, which is the jungler on the side of Twisted Minds. I feel like this is going to be a very scary, a brand new TM.
Absolutely. I think it's definitely not something that 9ZG is going to be ready for, especially after they just gone ahead and, you know, gone a little bit sore after, you know, OG played against them today, as they had to take, unfortunately, a 0-3 versus OG here. But again, they have the momentum versus TM in particular, right? Is this a new roster? A little bit, right? They figured out 4 of the members of Twisted Minds at least, because they've been beating them so far. Nightly is gonna definitely be a little bit of the catalyst here if TM does win, because that's the only difference so far. They've been losing against 9ZG ever since they've been kind of playing here into the week 2, but now that we're in week 3, we have a new roster, and TM is at a point where every single game goes ahead and matters here, and now that clutch factor that they're known for might come in.
That's right. This is almost the TM of KWC, and also almost the TM that won spring season. So as we updated the tables now, tomorrow it's going to be 9Z Globant against Twisted Minds to find that rematch against OG. 9Z Globant, this is a step up for them from spring season. Twisted Minds, this is vengeance that needs to be executed well. So we'll see how this is going to come, because Twisted Minds, this could be the best season of their life. Number 1, getting revenge onto 9Z Globant, but also repeating the process of OG, winning against OG again at the grand finals.
Absolutely here. OG, there's nothing evil about them, but they always feel like the evil villains of the league because they win all the matches, right? Everyone wants to beat OG. It's not because they don't like him, it's because they're so good. They're so dominant when they go ahead and win, right? So as we mentioned there, both these teams here playing for second place here, they both have a chance to go ahead and take revenge on OG. Everyone has a chance to take revenge, like wants to take revenge on OG because they beat everyone, right? So that is going to be what's happening here. Can Twisted Minds pull off the miracle that they've done in the last season here, where they get through the losers bracket and send OG back to face someone on the East? Because that was pretty funny last time. Gen G was definitely not ready for something like that to happen here. But yeah, very excited for those games tomorrow. I will be here casting here, but we actually have to close out now though. I'm not going to wave just in case, but Kin, any final regards?
I think it's going to be very interesting. I mean, obviously, you know, KMW, we're going to win in the final call. Against KME, no chance. But WKS, I think that's a region we need to really pay attention to, and we'll see how that is going to be like. That's it for today. We'll see you tomorrow on Broadcast as we look for our champions of KMW. Bye-bye.
I'm born of this, I'm born this way, ayy. This is my chest and my bonus play. Can't be late, won't hesitate. What do you say? Race to find my face, scars to find my skin. I can't convince them, can't please them unless that I'm the one that you hate. H to the E-R-O, doing it for real, locked on my goal. From the ashes, I roll the game. Flow with a rumble, make them crumble, make them run. Cause baby, it's go time. Knocking you down's how I rise. An inspiration, I know I'm the one who will fill them up, no lie, we gon' do it. Facing up fears, we don't think we just move it. No, we the best and we don't gotta prove it. Somebody test me, I swear I'm gon' lose it. I got a sure fuse on this boom and illuminate the truth within. Another day, another win. You got the power to turn around. Inside a champion's yet to be found.